Here we go. We're trying to get the connections right, man. Shout out to everybody, man. If you can hear me but didn't see me, I apologize again. We're trying to get the connections right on both sides. But it is Wednesday, July 9th. I am your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. Will Gordon will be joining me shortly. We got a lot to get into, man. We got some NBA recap stuff we got to get into. Free agency. I see the comment section buzzing on that side. Again, top 5 black rom-coms. We're getting into that tonight. And again, I'll make the statement. I keep checking on the other side. Instagram has been acting up with the connection. So we're trying to get that right. If you're watching over on Instagram and having any issues, I apologize. Send over your questions, comments. Like I said, we'll get to them as well. With that being said, let's get to the comment section, man. Let's get to it. Let's get to some things right now. Ron, first one in the comment section. Shout out to Ron, big time supporter of the show. We greatly appreciate that as well. The Big Cooper flag debut tomorrow. They hyping the shit up like crazy. They said some tickets going for $2,500. That is fucking crazy. Shit, I can watch at home and save $2,500. LOL. I completely agree with you, Ron. And shout out to my man Combo, Andrew Salop, host of Combo's Court. He's going to be out there at Summer League. I got to double check. I'm assuming he's going to be there for that game tomorrow. I saw him already post about being at Summer League, being present out there. He's been out there the last 4 or 5 years. That I know of anyway. He might even been out there a little longer than that in terms of how many years he's been going to Summer League. But he should be out there. They hyping it up, but I mean, that's what happens with a number 1 pick, right? Like we can't act like these things are new or like we don't know this is how the game is played. He's the number 1 pick. He's one of the better prospects coming out of college in quite some time. And when you consider last year's draft didn't really have the star power or like the big name that this year's draft class had, you would expect that there's going to be some hype going into it. So, but I agree with you, Ron. I wouldn't pay $2,500 to go to a Summer League game, which is crazy. And my understanding, I got to double check with Combo. I believe those are kind of first come, first serve. Like you get the ticket, unless you're in certain sections, like right behind the bench. Other than that, it's kind of seating is filled in as necessary. But I got to double check with Combo because I know that's how it used to be. It might have changed. And also, that's one of the other things too. Next year, I'm gonna try to get out to Summer League. I've noticed that the request, like media credentials, have gone up quite a bit. A couple of years ago, it was a lot easier to get the media credentials. I'm already working on it for next year. That's how early in advance you got to get these things going. But again, shout out to Ron. Let's see here. Expectations for the Chiefs bouncing back from the Super Bowl loss. Mahomes, we work harder than anybody in the NFL. They are a hardworking team. They've got a great coach. They've got a great foundation, great defensive coordinator, very, very good players. Obviously, Mahomes and Kelsey get most of the attention, but there's very good players top to bottom on this team. I expect, if we're going to say expectations coming back from a loss, I think they're still the favorites to win the division. I would say they're probably going to be a top 3 team in the AFC. AFC is loaded this year, guys. It's a lot of good teams. And in 2 weeks, Will Gordon and I are going to start getting more into our predictions for division winners and what we expect to happen. But in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs, they got the 6th easiest schedule in the NFL. They play the AFC South, which is a very weak division, might be the weakest division in all of football. You're talking the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars, the Titans. So you expect the Chiefs to beat up on that division. Their cross-conference division matchup is against the NFC East. So you're talking Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, somewhat up and down division. I think the Cowboys are going to be better than last year. I think the Giants are still a bottom 5 team, but the Giants defense, I think, is going to be better because of that pass rush they have now. Commanders are still a playoff team. Eagles are still a playoff team and Super Bowl contender. So outside of their division, it's pretty favorable. I think they can navigate that pretty favorably and win some games in both those divisions. Again, the Eagles might be the toughest of those 8 teams that they got to play outside of their conference and their division. And they play the Eagles, I believe, week 3. They get that rematch very early in the season. So overall, I think the Chiefs are going to probably win 11 to 12 games. I haven't gone detailed breakdown every game by game, which I will do at some point this offseason. But probably going to win 11 to 12 games. They should be able to win their division, but their division is tough. You know, you got the Broncos, who are a playoff caliber team. You got the Chargers, playoff caliber team. Obviously, they got to play the Ravens because they got to play all the first place teams across the conference as well. So Ravens and Buffalo. So they got some tough games, but I think 11 to 12 wins is still in their range, which would put them in the range of 11-6, 12-5. And and like I said, be a top 3 team in the AFC? It's a good question too, Ron, because we got to get to some football stuff. Ron was on the road. He got more NFL questions. We're going to say we're 5th best quarterback in the NFL. Randy Moss named Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow. To me, it's Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts has solidified that spot. Now, you've got some very good quarterbacks. After those 4, you've got some very good quarterbacks that are in that next tier. Obviously, Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Daniels. I think Justin Herbert is right in that next tier. After that, you got to figure out how do you rank Brock Purdy. How you feel about Matthew Stafford, CJ Stroud, so there's a lot of good quarterbacks still around. Dak Prescott obviously would be another guy that's in that mix. But for me, it's Jalen Hurts. To win that Super Bowl, to be a guy who's led his team to 2 Super Bowls already in his very young career, obviously going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs in both those. The numbers may not be as impressive as the 4 in front of him, right? Because Lamar's multiple-time MVP, Josh Allen winning MVP, Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl and lit up the league in terms of passing yards last year, and obviously what Mahomes has done. But I think Jalen Hurts probably should be number 5, and you could make a case that Jalen Hurts might even be able to creep into that top 4. Jalen Hurts' resume in terms of as a winner and a leader is stronger than Allen, Lamar, and Burrow because he's been in more Super Bowls than all 3 of those guys combined. So that case can be made for him, but I do think he's definitely number 5. Let's see. Ron had a question that just came through. I'm going to say that for when Will gets on the live as well. Let's see what else. What we got here? Devontae Harris. I'm going to go with your WNBA question first, Devontae. Shout out to Devontae Harris. So y'all notice Angel Reese has been living up to the hype after a slow 10 games. Her rebounding is off the chain. You're 1,000% correct. Angel Reese has improved. This is something that I think most people should have been patient with and expected as well. She's going to improve. She's going to get better. But if we're talking just recently, and in terms of her last 5 games, we're talking 18, 17, and 6, 17 and 8, 24, 16 and 7, 16, 17 and 6, 22, 15 and 4. Well-rounded games, but also her shooting percentage. I had to look back at the shooting percentage because, like I said, I think offensively, this is the most efficient she's been in her career. And so you're looking at 50% shooting, 43.8%, 52.6, 43.8 again, 55.6. She has done a great job of being much more efficient while still maintaining the aggression on the boards. She's been great. And I think she deserves her just due. I know a lot of us criticize her for, the holes in her game previously, but she's shown up and she's played really, really well. She deserves that credit right now. Devontae also wanted to know, DeAndre Ayton joining the Lakers, does the move scare anyone? No, it doesn't scare anyone. I think it's an upgrade is the best way I can put it, because you're looking at a Laker team last year who, yes, was a playoff team, but Jackson Hayes might have been their weakest link, right? They're not a great defensive team, and I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton makes them a much better team defensively. What he does do, I think he gives them a little bit more balance offensively, because now it gives you a guy in the post that has enough moves you have to respect it. And so if his guy tries to help off, if his guy tries to cut off driving lanes, now DeAndre Ayton just becomes an easy lob target or easy finisher around the rim. So I like the move from. I also said, and I stated this during the Real Fans Real Talk Live on Monday, DeAndre Ayton, if you're a Laker fan and what you're banking on is his best 2 seasons in the league were with Chris Paul, when he had a legitimate point guard who could set him up and run the offense. He's going to get that now with Luka. He's going to get that same opportunity with Luka, and to a lesser extent with LeBron's playmaking ability. So he'll get the opportunity, I think, to benefit from those guys. Him being the 3rd best player on the team is probably a better fit for him as well than what he saw in Portland. And again, I referenced that time in Phoenix because that was the best version of him that we saw. So I think he can get back to that. But no, it doesn't scare anyone. We know who the best teams in the West are. You're talking OKC, the champs. You're talking Denver. You're talking Houston, Minnesota. So I don't think, this move put the Lakers in that conversation. It didn't shift things to the point where we're talking about them the way we're talking about those other teams. I just think that, it's a good pick pick up for them. They still need more to round out that roster. They don't have enough shooting on the team. That's one of the things I've been saying. But they're better. They're better in that regard. Let's see what else we got here. And like I said, guys, Will Gordon will be joining the show shortly as we get into the topic of the night, top 5 Black rom-coms. This is our personal preference. Like I said, it could be more than 5, but we use 5 as the barometer on what we got there. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Sanchez Show. We go live every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I apologize for Instagram. There's been some connection issues the last week and a half over there. It happened during the Monday night live on Real Fans Real Talk as well, where we were having some connection issues on that side. So I apologize if you're trying to watch on IG. But if you have the ability to, just switch right over to YouTube. Or, like I said, if you follow me on Facebook, you can watch right over there as well. Make sure you guys are subscribed, as I mentioned. Also, subscribe to Real Fans Real Talk. We will not be live this Monday. I'm actually going to be on vacation, guys. So I got to touch base with Trip Young and see how he would like to proceed for Monday. It might be a week off. We're going to see. But it gives you an opportunity to go back in the archives and check out some of the other episodes and shows and interviews that we've had. Let's see. Tyson. We're talking NBA. Let's stick with that. Let's go here. So Mike Brown, a new coach, Knicks coach, has reduced Rick Brunson's role with the Knicks. Yes. And this was going to be an obvious, I guess, move. First things first, Mike Brown, congratulations as the head coach, but also he has the right to pick his staff. He shouldn't have to inherit a staff and just say, hey, I'm just going to stay with these guys. No, Rick Brunson's still on the staff. Rick Brunson is still valued by Mike Brown because of his connection with the players and also his insight with the roster. So I think it's smarter, Mike Brown, to keep Rick Brunson around, understanding that he has a connection with certain players. Obviously, his son, who's the best player on the team. But that does not mean that he needs to be one of your lead assistants. You can bring in the guys who you feel most comfortable with and who you feel should be your top assistants. So that's the situation right now with Rick Brunson. He's still on staff. Like I said, he'll just move down a couple chairs on the bench, but he'll still be part of the everyday, day-to-day grind and planning and strategizing there. So it's a good move. Tyson also wants to know, does Mark Jackson deserve another coaching chance? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't see why he wouldn't deserve another coaching chance. He helped build and develop the Golden State Warriors. We know that. He went there, and at a time when the Warriors were kind of a laughingstock of the NBA, he turned them around, and he got them on the verge of becoming a title contender. Now, I don't give him as much credit as some other people do because I think we overlook the changes that Steve Kerr had to make them a true title contender, right? Steve Kerr coming in inherited a team that was good, but it had some flaws. They needed to move Andre Iguodala to the bench. They did. That opened things up for them. And also Steve Kerr went away from traditional lineups and created what we now know as the lineup of death with Draymond Green playing center. That was one of the things that Mark Jackson was a little reluctant to do. Because if you look back, Mark Jackson used to play David Lee a lot as their 5. It's kind of their stretch 5 because he was so talented offensively. Steve Kerr kind of went away from that. But Mark Jackson was a big part of setting up the foundation for this team to become a potential NBA champion. And then Steve Kerr, I think, did the rest to get him over the top. So that can't be overlooked as well. Again, shout out to the comment section. Y'all buzzing tonight, man. Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to Pooh. All right, Pooh, I see you. Yeah, we're going to say that for the end of the show. I see that right there. All right, what else we got? And again, guys, Will Gordon should be joining me shortly. We actually were texting about 15 minutes ago, right before I started the live. So I know he'll be joining very shortly. Tonight's topic, we're doing our favorite Black rom-coms. I'm not even going to call it top 5 anymore. Just our favorite. So drop in the comment section some of your favorite Black rom-coms. They might be on our list. We're going to get into it. We're going to give you some of our favorite lines from the movies as well. Let's see. Tyson says, Danny Parker said, Caleb Williams is already better than Jordan Love. Agree or disagree? I 1,000% disagree. What has Caleb Williams done? And I like Caleb Williams. But what has he done? How are we putting him already above Jordan Love, who's been to the playoffs a couple times, who has a playoff win? Now, Jordan Love towards the end of last year was a little hurt. Again, that's part of the game. No, not making excuses for him. But he was a little banged up at the end of last year. But let's not act like 2 years ago when Jordan Love went into Dallas and damn near hung a 50 piece on the Cowboys and they won that game. And then they went to San Fran and they had a chance to beat the 49ers in the second round. That Jordan Love wasn't looking like a true up-and-coming star at the quarterback position. Jordan Love is very, very good. And Jordan Love, I think, is still better, much better than Caleb Williams. Now, if you want to tell me the ceiling is higher on Caleb Williams, if you want to tell me that Caleb Williams has greater potential in the league, I can see that, right? But that's what you would expect from a guy who's the number one pick in the draft, too. You expect him to have a greater ceiling and a higher potential. Caleb Williams started from day one. Jordan Love sat the bench and kind of had to grow into the position and grow into the spot of the leader. So, again, if you feel one guy's star potential and ceiling to be a better player, yes. But there's no way you could say he is already better. I would challenge Danny Parkins to put the film on and show me where on the film you see Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love. Because from what I saw from Caleb Williams last year was a lot of bad throws. There were a lot of late throws. Yes, his offensive line wasn't the best, but he didn't help his offensive line either with some quick decision-making. There was a lot of times that he held on the ball too long or didn't make the quickest read and then end up getting sacked because he didn't go through his progressions fast enough. So Caleb Williams has a lot of room to grow. And I don't think their offensive line has gotten much better from last year. We're going to see how that plays out. But I just think there's still a lot of issues there with Caleb Williams in that offense before we can even have the conversation. Caleb Williams is not better than Jordan Love. And if we want to rank the quarterbacks within that division alone, I think Jared Goff, Jordan Love are 1 and 2. Caleb Williams is 3 right now with the potential to get up to number 2. But he's not better than Jordan Love. I'm sorry. Shout out to Tyson. I like the questions, though, man. I like that. Ron, I'm going to save that because you put one question up there for both of us regarding Kevin Durant. So I'm going to wait to that. Let me see. Pooh, don't get mad at Will, man. Will had told me he probably was going to be a little late today. So he might be trying to figure out. He challenged me to a hat wars tonight. I got my fitted waiting right here. I'm not going to display it until Will comes on the live, and then we'll unveil which fitted we're going with tonight. But he will be joining very shortly. Shout out to Pooh though. Pooh be making sure we on time and that the shows are running smooth. Pooh's trying to get executive producer credits on the shows because she get on us about being late. What else we got here? There was another question I thought we skipped here. I'll get to this one as well. This was from Devontae Harris. He said, can we be honest? We always try to be honest, baby. What we got? Bronny James is an average basketball player. I try to find good in his game and can't. He's just not an NBA level player, and that's fine. And Devontae Harris, I agree with you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I think the LeBron James diehards have trouble admitting that. They try to make up excuses and things like that. But let's call it what it is. Bronny James was a second-round draft pick. Now, most second-round draft picks are project pieces. They're guys who are going to take a little while to get to a level where they can be productive enough in the NBA. There's nothing wrong with being a second-round draft pick. There's nothing wrong with being a G League guy. But we all know there's a difference between NBA-level talent, and I'm talking about guys who can contribute positively night in, night out. I'm not talking about a guy who is good enough to just make the team but never plays. We're talking NBA guys who, if you're on the floor on most nights, they're giving you some sort of positive contribution, right? Bronny isn't that yet. Bronny is still a project piece. That's why on most nights you see his minutes get capped. He's limited in what he can do offensively. Yeah, he's a feisty defender. I hate seeing people who make the comment, oh, he's a high-level defender. I don't know if he's a high-level defender. I think he's scrappy. I think he's an agitator on defense. But he's not a high-level defender, and he's still limited in what he can do defensively. And some of that has to just do with his height and his stature. He's not a big physical defender. So on guards, on smaller guards especially, yeah, he can get off. He's going to be feisty. He's going to be a pest. Against veteran point guards, he's not going to bother them that much. Against taller two guards, he's not going to affect their shot that much. Against 2s and 3s who can get into the mid-range and play with their back to the basket, he's not going to affect them. But on-ball defense against smaller guards who maybe aren't as quick, yeah, he's going to be able to affect their game. For Bronny James, though, he's got to be willing to accept the progression necessary to be a night in, night out NBA guy. If he's willing to accept that, there's no reason that he can't turn himself into a Bruce Brown type player. Why he can't turn himself into a Pat Bev type player. Again, with progression, with time. Not right now. He's not that right now. He still needs a lot more development. That was my biggest beef with the Lakers taking him, that they weren't going to really take the time to develop him. They were going to rush him into to some minutes. They were going to try to force him on the court because they know that, you know, his dad being there, they want the opportunity to see them play together. But it's not that. And I don't think that there's nothing wrong with that either. I just don't think that it's the greatest landing spot for him. It's a tough position to be in when you have that type of pressure and you have people expecting you to get on the court, expecting you to play and produce. He's not ready for that. He barely played at USC. He had off and on minutes last year. His best game, I think, last year was in garbage time, a game that they had were getting blown out in, and he was able to put up some numbers. But for the most part, he just needs reps. He needs minutes. He needs opportunities on the court. Lakers aren't going to give him that. He's got to spend a lot of time in the G League, I think. What else we got? Will, we waiting for you to join, man. People getting antsy. I saw another one. I saw another football-related question here, too. Shout out to Tyson. How much respect do the new look Steelers deserve? Do Ravens have any missing pieces? I'm going to start with the second part of that question. Ravens are a complete team. I don't think, I mean, if you want to nitpick and maybe say what's their weakest position, they might be weakest at corner. But again, we're nitpicking. The defense as a whole is very good. How much respect do the new look Steelers deserve? Well, and I don't want to be disrespectful to Mike Tomlin, but when we say how much respect, like, what are we really asking? They didn't win the division. They're probably, I mean, you could say they're the second best team in the division. Personally, I think they're the third best team. I like the Bengals a little bit more, just because I know what the Bengals are. The Steelers, to me, defensively is good, but I think what they did last year, it's a reason why they faded in the second half of the season last year, because that's not the modern NFL. Winning games, 17-13 and 20-17, you can do that every now and then, but that can't be your consistent game plan. That can't be your consistent mindset week in, week out. I just don't think you can win enough football games that way. You've got to be able to put up points. You've got to be able to win some of these shootouts. You got to be able to get up and down the field when necessary, right? Everyone, of course, is not going to be the Buffalo Bills or the Eagles or the Chiefs and be able to just score at will. But you've got to, when you need the drive, you got to get the drive. And Pittsburgh doesn't have that right now. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers changes that. So in terms of how much respect do they get? Now, I know when you say new look, you also got to mention they brought in Jalen Ramsey. They brought in Darius Slay. But the defense was already good. So going to get two potential, future Hall of Fame cornerbacks at this stage in their career, I don't think changes much for them. Now, if Aaron Rodgers can be better, yeah, maybe they have a shot at doing something very good this year. But Aaron Rodgers hasn't been good in about 3 or 4 years. So I don't think they'll be better in that regard. I still think they're a very, very good defensive team. I think they're a very, very good, fundamentally sound coach team. But in terms of respect, it's still the Ravens division. And I like the Bengals still. And I think the Bengals, I expected a bounce back year last year. They lost some really tough games early in the season. That defense was terrible. They got a new defensive coordinator. I think they'll be better this year. The offense is still going to be great. They're running it back with all their guys. They're still going to be very, very good on defense. But yeah, in terms of the Steelers, I just don't see it, man. Guys, make sure you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show, streaming across all major platforms. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. Make sure you guys are locked in every Wednesday night at 7:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're trying to work out the kinks on Instagram right now. I don't know why it's giving us some trouble there. But yeah, tonight we are doing our favorite black rom-coms. Normally we call it a top 5, but it ain't got to be top 5. It is what it is. We're going to get into anything and everything. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Real Fans Real Talk as well. As I mentioned earlier in the show, next week we won't have a Wednesday night Sanchez show. I'll be on vacation. I'll be out of the country. So we won't have one next week. We'll get back to it the following week. Will, let me know. Give me the thumbs up when you're ready. We got my brother Will Gordon. He ready to go.
What it do, baby? How y'all feeling, man? What's good on this Wednesday? Happy hump day, everybody, all the supporters. What's good with y'all, man? It's hump day. We trying to get through this thing. How was y'all's 4th? And y'all still if y'all still sending off fireworks tonight, kill yourself.
Yeah, they're a problem, Will. You know what I'm saying? I know you had. I was waiting for you to bring your joint out so I could.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? 50th anniversary patch on it.
Hey, okay. Hey, did you already tease the Fitted Wars?
I told them we was having Fitted Wars tonight, and as once you join in, I was gonna get into it and let people know they could vote. Let us know what they think of the Fitteds.
Let them know what it is. I'm admit tonight that you gonna win tonight because my Fitted tonight has to do with my tea, which I'm not gonna reveal till we get into our later topic. Okay. But you gonna win tonight. But you know it's been some champions that lost game 1. You know what I'm saying? It's been a lot of champions that lost game 1.
A lot of great teams may lose game 1. It's how you respond in game 2.
Yeah. You like my new set too? Like I ain't on your level because you got the feng shui going on with the wall art. Your wall art is ridiculous. Well, it's crazy right now.
Nah. You know, before we had the sports stuff in the background. I'm gonna get back to the sports stuff in the background. I just let this rock for a little bit.
I love it, bro. I love it. For real. Keep it that way. Like I love it. Okay. Like you it look like you about to have some tea. You know what I'm saying? It look like your mortgage.
We keep all
like your tea. Yeah. Oh, you got that red cup tea. That red cup tea.
Yeah, red cup tea.
Yo, like your mortgage is paid. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got the whole vibe behind you, bro. I'm feeling it, man. I love it.
Bro, before we start, we got a couple questions here as well.
Who in the comment section? Because I can't see him. Who up in here tonight?
Ron Charles is the first one in here.
Oh, Ron going rep. What up, Ron?
Yeah, we got Tyson, we got Devontae Harris in here, we got Pooh in here.
Tyson, Devontae, Pooh. Hey, the usual suspects, man. That's why we rock with y'all. This is why we do it. It's for y'all, man.
That's a fact. And then over on IG, I don't know what's going on. It's showing that we live over there, but I don't see no activity. So we'll see what happens over there.
For real.
But let me see. What's the first one? Because we got a couple questions. Some that were directed straight to you, and then some of them was for both of us. Let's get one that's directly straight to you.
All right.
All right. This is a good one from Ron right here.
Ron, what up?
He said, Will, since you from DC, give me. I love the Wizards team with Webber, Jawan, Calvert, Chaney, Strickland, Tracy Murray. That team was cool to me. Lost to the Bulls, but what's your favorite Wizards team?
Yeah,
that's a good question to start.
That is my favorite Wizards team. That team, Ron. Shout out to Ron. This motherfucker know his shit. He don't never come on. He don't never come on. He don't never come on with no comments that ain't up to par. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, Ron. Shout out to you rocking with Eric on every format. But that's my favorite Wizards team. That's my favorite team. That's the team, like you said, the loss to the Bulls. In the that's when it was the first round was 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
We lost to the Bulls in 3. They swept us, but we lost to them by a total, I think, of 7 points in 3 games. Ron, you can check that for me and comment here as the show goes on. But check that. I think we lost all 3 games by a total of 7 points, and I was at the 3rd game. And that team, I love that. I hated Calvert Chaney. I'm not going to even front. He was the weak link of that team to me. Like I hated him as a draft pick because he went to Indiana, and I wasn't rocking with Indiana at the time with Bobby Knight and all that. Like it just felt like a white boy university. Like, and not to be racist, I mean it felt like a good old boys institution at the time. Like You know what I'm saying? And Calvin Chaney was that one. He felt like the house nigga in the situation, but his game never really lived up to his draft position. But everybody else you mentioned on that team, C-Web, Jawan, uh, Rod, Tracy Murray, and to not even flex, but I've been to Jawan's house when he was in Maryland. I've been to a C-Web party when he was in Maryland. And Ross Strickland, I used to sell to. I used to work in Landover Mall. Everybody from back.
Hold on. The way you said that, you said I used to sell to, like you used to pitch to him.
Nah. We keep it drug free over here. Nah, I used to sell him clothes when I used to work in Landover Mall. For everybody from the area, from DC, no, Landover Mall used to be a icon staple. Is where it's actually it used to be across the street from where the Commanders play currently over there in I forget what they call it now because they renamed the city like that part of land so many times. But I used to work at the mall that used to be across the street. Landover Mall was an icon. I used to work there, and I used to sell Ross Strickland clothes and Timberlands. He used to pull up. He had like 6 cars. Every time he came to Landover Mall, he pulled up with the Mercedes 600, the gold joint with the BBSs. Like this is like 96. You know what I'm saying? He was pulling up on fire on them cats. But I love that team. That Wizards team gotta be my favorite team. My favorite Wizards point guard of all time is Ross Strickland. Clearly, like a lot of people want to like John Wall. John Wall is my son. That's like I consider him my child.
John Wall is like one of your favorite Wizards.
Yeah, that's my child. That's my son. You know what I'm saying? I adopted him when we drafted him number 1. But as far as hoop, like game, everything that encompasses like what your favorite player would encompass, Ross Strickland is my number one PG. But shout out to C-Web, shout out to Jawan, because they was always good to me. Jawan lived next door to my girl. I was only in the 8th grade, but he lived next door to my girl. And every time if I was over there and he was out, like he'd be outside sometimes, just watering the plants. Like that was what was crazy about him. He watered plants, and then in the front yard, he checked his own mail. You know what I'm saying? You don't think celebrities. You at the time, at least I was young. You think celebrities had everything done for them, but he was checking the mail, getting the paper, just like everybody else. But shout out Ron. Shout out to that team. That's my favorite Wizards team, bro. And shout out to the Wizards team that lost to who we lose to that year when John Wall stood on the table in round 1.
Was that round 1 or round 2? Was that round 1 or round 2?
Round 1, he stood on the table on round 1. And then we lost round 2. We never been to the ECF. We never made it to the ECF with John and them.
Y'all never went to the second round with John Wall?
No, we got to the second round.
That's what I'm saying. I never made jumped on the table. That was the second round.
You know what? It might have been. Now
I'm trying to think who y'all played.
I just know whatever the case was, that standing on the table wasn't going to the next round. So I like the emotion in the moment, but I didn't like that the job wasn't done. Like Kobe voice. You know what I'm saying? Job ain't done.
Damn, was that against Toronto?
Ron, who was that against?
I gotta look it up, but I remember that, because Bill was young, Wall. Damn, who did I play that year?
It wasn't Cleveland.
It
wasn't Cleveland.
No, it wasn't Cleveland.
Boston. Yes.
In Boston.
It was that little ass guard gave
Isaiah
us hell.
Thomas. Yeah,
Isaiah Thomas gave us hell. Yeah, that's what it was, man. He gave us hell. Shout out to Isaiah Thomas, man, and not to sidebar, but shout out to him. He's the reason that when you see contracts and stuff come up, F the team. Always make it about the player. This dude tore his body up and took less money to come back to a team that he thought was going to take care of him. He came out and played for the team. On the night his sister died and dropped 50 on him.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to take care of him, they showed him the door. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, it was always going to be one of those situations that people reference because he made the statement and said they got to back up the Brinks truck. Then he gets hurt, and so they use him along with some other contracts to go get Kyrie Irving. Because then it became, like you said, like, damn, they just shit on him like that and trade him away.
They did him dirty as fuck.
Yeah, I mean they did.
Can we cuss on this? I don't want to get your views pulled. Like I'm making sure. I don't know the new rules of 2025. You know.
Nah, it's all good. We out here. Come on. There's another good one right here. This from Tyson. He wants to know what do you think of Gil during his Wizards days?
I got a Gilbert Arenas jersey, dog. Authentic joint, like the joint you had to pay like $275 for back in the day. Gil was my guy. And he bought you know what Gil did that before him nobody did for the city is he brought back that sizzle. Like DC, well, I'm just speaking on it as like when I was growing up there. I was born in 1979. I left DC in 2002. So my formative years, I'm DC. I'm Capitol Heights, born and raised, Forestville, Suitland, Upper Marlboro. I'm a PG dude, but that region and hoops is, as y'all probably know, is very, very rich. That culture is go-go music and basketball in DC, or in the DC area. And that culture of basketball was just ingrained in me because, I mean, that's all it was like you knew, like for you, E, who said it was Biggie, right? You got a wicked jump shot or
like crack route.
Yeah, it was one way or the other. In DC at the time that I was growing up, it was Die City. It was, you know what I'm saying, it was the number one murder per capita city. Crack cocaine was jumping off crazy. So you even like hoops was our thing. That was the one thing that kept us pure. And you can see the correlation of DC back in the day in our hoops with the tragic thing that happened with Len Bias.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But growing up, like DC is the basketball city. It's a Redskin city. You know what I'm saying? That's going to always be number one. The NFL is always going to reign supreme. But DC is a basketball city. And what Gilbert did when he came, it's like he brought the spotlight, because there was a period of time where we was getting slept on as far as the national spotlight, because this is around the time when AM1 was popping off. Remember the AM1 mixtape days?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And that's when with AM1, that was giving more shine to the park tournaments like Rucker. That was giving more shine to like the Seattle Pro-Ams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So AM1 kind of brought the light to more street ball, where DC hoopers, we always had that pocket. It was just never, we were never in that spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Gil came to town. Gil got hot, and Gil was pulling up down the what's that? It's a hooping tournament down in down Berry Farms. Gil was pulling up the Goodman League. Gil was pulling up to the Goodman League. Like, he pull up in the 600, leave his lights cranked on, so it was lights because there wasn't lights on the court. He pull up by himself just to hoop. And when Gil started doing that, that's when he set the city of DC on fire as far as hoops goes. That's when he brought it back. That's when he brought it back to the people. You know what I'm saying? When Gil was a Wizard, you couldn't tell me shit. There was a time in the league where there was it was a short time, but there was a time in the league where they were talking about who's the best two guard, even though Gil was listed as a point. It was like Kobe or Gil. There was a pocket. It was a small. It wasn't a 5-year thing, but there was a time when people were talking about Gil or Kobe. And then last thing I'm gonna say about Gil that is speaks to why I fuck with him more than any other reason besides him being a great wizard. When he got cut from Team USA, when he didn't make the Team USA basketball team, and Jerry Colangelo was part of it, Mike Krzyzewski was part of it, but it was 2 other NBA dudes that was part of it too, of the selection process.
Mm-hmm.
He said, all right, y'all coming? I'm coming for all of y'all.
Yeah, that's a fact. He made the hit list.
Pause. And then he went and dropped 50 on every, because it was 4 execs, part of 4 NBA teams. And when he got cut, he dropped 50 on every team that was represented by those execs, including a walk-off game winner against the Steve Nash Suns. When Gil used to pull up, Gil was pulling up for 3 and turning around with his hands up way before Steph was doing it. He was the first motherfucker doing that shit. He did that against the Suns, against the Steve Nash Suns, because Colangelo was the GM at the time. After he got cut from Team USA and walked off, that's why I fuck with Gil. He's a West Coast dude, but when he came to the city, he embraced the culture that was DC, that is DC, and ran with it. And so the Ron, I fuck with Gil. Not to be, I was super long-winded with it, but yeah, I rock with Gil.
Nah, shout out to Gary Blankenship. I see Gary. I see you in here, bro.
Gary, what up? What up, Gary? That's my man. That's my coworker. What up, Gary?
I see a couple people on the IG side. Like I said, bear with us because I don't know what's going on with that connection on the IG side. But if you send in your questions or comments, we're gonna get to those as well. I'm flipping back and forth. Let's see. There was another one I seen here. Pooh got a question for both of us, but she wanted to say that towards.
Hey, Pooh. Hey.
She got on you about being late too. She said we'll go to the show. She said the show started. Black folks never on time.
Pooh, you know that come on, Pooh. Listen, hey, Pooh. Shout out to Pooh, man. You've been rocking with us from the Genesis.
Well, I think this. You talk about being long-winded on the last one. We ain't got to be long-winded on this one because I already know we got the same response. Tyson want to know what's our thoughts on Drake's new song. I ain't listened to that shit.
I ain't even heard the song.
There you go.
I don't even know.
No need to be long-winded.
No. Who Tyson? Mad love to you, son. Like we ain't.
It ain't nothing against Tyson, right? It ain't nothing against Tyson.
No disrespect. It's just Drake. Drake. Nah, I'm good.
What was the other one we had here? That was Ron's question. Let's see. I think there was one other one. I know there was those. Oh, I guess the other one was the pool question, but we saving that for the end. All right. Ron wants to know. You both, was Kevin Durant's time with the Nets considered a failure or success? It's got to be a failure. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, they added James Harden for like 1 season. They never made it out the second round. Now, I know we can all say, hey, if Kevin Durant, that's a 3 instead of a 2 against Milwaukee. They beat Milwaukee and they probably go on to win it all that year. But it is what it is. They never got out of the second round. And then for them, that last time they was together, they actually got swept in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have multiple head coaches that got fired. And when you consider since then, Kyrie was able to go to Dallas and make an NBA Finals with Luka. Durant has still struggled to kind of find his way. To me, it's a failure.
Man, I guess if you don't win the chip, to me, it's a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you try to put so many, pieces in place for you to achieve that goal, and then you don't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I gotta go back to like looking back, you can say that, but in the moment, KD was carrying that team. And if he wore the correct size shoe, we be looking at his legacy completely different. That toe on the line when he pulled up and hit that three, that was the difference between winning the game and taking it to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
When his toe was on the line, so it went to overtime and they ran out of gas. If that shot, see, that's where sports is lovely, but it's cruel as shit too. If he has his foot back half an inch,
Mm-hmm.
we looking at his legacy completely different
Yeah.
because keep in mind he's coming off the Golden State championships
Mm-hmm.
where he was the hired assassin to get the job done. So then he would have been able to say, "Yo, y'all, I was the hired gun. I came and got y'all chips, and then I came over here by myself with everybody injured, with everybody getting hurt, and I carried whoever's left with me to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's how close that foot on the line was. So I really don't want to call his time in technically the way we the way we judge things was his time in Brooklyn a failure. Yes, because he didn't get the job done. But personally, with that performance, not only in that game, but in that playoffs, all the adversity he was facing, and he coming fresh off jewelry, I can't say that it was a
Well,
failure.
he wasn't fresh off jewelry when they lost to Milwaukee. Remember, he sat out one season.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I'm saying like, the whole culmination of the situation, the timeline, is like you was a winner, and then everything that happened in Brooklyn, I feel like if everybody was healthy, like James was there, Kyrie, right?
So
If everybody was right,
yeah.
then I think it would have been. If everybody was
Oh,
right,
I think so. I agree with you from the standpoint of like, if this is all revisionist history, right?
of course,
In that moment, do you do it again? Absolutely. If you the Nets, if you any team, you're gonna take the opportunity to have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Any team. Anybody who tells you different is lying.
yeah,
But was it a success? No, it was a failure because they brought that team together to at the very least make an NBA Finals. They didn't bring that team together to lose in the second round of the playoffs. So we have to view it from that lens and say, yeah, what you expected and what the results were two completely different things. Now, if they had gotten to, let's say if they didn't get to an NBA Finals, but they had got to a couple of Eastern Conference Finals, then you'd be like, all right, we had a shot, we just didn't make it happen. But to lose in the second round of the playoffs pretty much 3 straight years when you brought Durant, Kyrie, and Harden together, and then, the issues with Kyrie not wanting to play, stepping away from the team, it kind of created this shadow over the team. They never really got a chance to just hoop because there was always some other off the court shit that was going on. And then James Harden was only there a season and then he wanted to leave. So overall, to me, it's a failure. They had the talent to do more. They never got close enough to doing what they came together to do. That's the best way to put it. Ron wants us to circle back because there was a question that was up here before you joined the live, Will.
okay.
He wants to know what's your thoughts on Bronny James. Yeah. Well, I'm just this for the people. This is what they asked. Will.
All right. And what else? What's my thoughts
He
on
said they
Bronny?
hyping him versus Cooper Flag tomorrow.
They did what?
He said they hyping him up versus Cooper Flag tomorrow.
But Summer League?
Yeah, Summer League.
First of all, why has Dallas got Cooper Flag playing Summer League ball? They really got him playing?
Yeah, I think he's only going to play 1 or 2 games. He's not playing the whole Summer League. They just get him reps.
So the first game's against the Lakers?
The first, is it? I don't even know if that's. I think no. Bronny and him already played a game. This might be Dallas' second game, but I don't know if Cooper Flag played in the first. I don't think he played in the first one.
But tomorrow is Bronny versus Cooper Flag?
I guess that's how they selling it.
Oh my God. All right, listen, first of all, now I'm going to keep, who was that, Ron?
Ron.
I'm going to
give you the solo shot for it. Pause.
Ron, you already know, man. listen, Bronny ain't supposed to be in the league, first of all. And you talking about Cooper Flag, who's going to be a monster. I'm telling you. Like, this he's going to be the great white hype for sure. I have 100% confidence in that. Bronny ain't even supposed to be in the league. What I think about the matchup, it's kind of embarrassing for the James family. Like, I wouldn't even want that. So basically, I should just say my thoughts on Bronny overall. Dude's a G League scrub. Like, he's an end of the bench G League guy. Like, he shouldn't even be starting for the G League. He should be like after he leaves practice, he should be going straight to his part-time job and doing whatever he does on his part-time job, because that's the level of basketball player I feel like he is. He ain't. If his last name was Jones instead of James, this dude would have never made the league. So, and Cooper Flag is, I think, and I'm confident in saying, I feel like he's going to be a generational talent. Like, I think he's the next one as far as white, especially as far as white American-born basketball players. When was the last time we had a great white American-born? I'm going to underline that. I'm not talking about Euros. When was the last great white player that came from the United States? And Cooper Flag is that guy. It's not even a comparison. Ron.
Yeah, I can't think. I gotta think back who would be that guy. But yeah, it's no comparison.
American born? That's what I'm saying. Like, you think immediately you think guys like Steve Nash, Canadian. You like Dirk, German. Like, it's like Luca. I don't even know where the hell Luca is from, but not here.
Slovenia.
So yeah, one of them Anias. He Ania from here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but what was it like white like Mason Plumlee? Like, what we talking about?
I guess we're gonna say like
Dante DiVincenzo. Like, who we talking about?
I guess we're gonna say like Tyler Hero, Austin Reeves.
What's the ball dude?
Chet is the guy.
Chet Holmgren. Yeah. They need somebody new. Larry Bird was a long time ago.
Right. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to hype up. I gave my thoughts on Bronny earlier. Like I said, I kept it politically correct. He shouldn't be on the NBA roster. At this point, if they want to develop him, the best way to develop him is to keep him down in G League.
Yeah, but that ain't what they trying to do. They ain't about development for him.
You know what's this is one of the funniest shits I heard over the last 2 weeks, right? So there was all this talk about potentially, after Bron opted in, could he be traded? And I personally, the trade that they can make would be to send LeBron and Bronny to Cleveland for like Jared Allen, Darius Garland. I'm like, first of all, why the fuck would Cleveland want Bronny? Y'all throwing him in there like this is a guy who can help their team. They don't want Bronny. And then secondly, it's like, yo, that's where we at with this whole LeBron James shit, where it's like, even if Bron gets traded, his son gotta go too.
Which is crazy, but did you see LeBron last week? He was up here in Ohio.
Yeah, he was
at a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was golfing.
No, he was out there working out though, because there was.
He was working out too. He got a house.
He still got his house out there, and there was like pictures that got put up of him working out at a gym out there with a couple Cavs players.
But he went golfing with a hat on that said "Welcome Home," and that brought up a lot of buzz around, and like people was like, "Oh, he coming back to the Cavaliers," which would be great for the city of Cleveland, like if he did that. And I don't know if it'd be such a bad idea for the basketball team, because a team that's led by what's my man, the guard,
Mitchell.
A team that's led by Donovan Mitchell is not going to take you to the promised land. He ain't that guy. So what if LeBron did come back to that team? I mean, of course, some pieces got to leave if you were to pull that off. But for the city and for the region of like Cleveland, that'd be great if LeBron came to finish out his career.
We're not even going to talk too much about LeBron, man. We're
No,
about to
I'm just
get.
saying,
I know, but I don't even want to go down
just
that rabbit hole because then the question is going to start flowing in about do we think a trade? You know,
yep,
I know how it's going to happen, Will, and then we're going to end up spending the
yep.
next 20, 30 minutes
And
talking
then
about.
all of a sudden, Trip gonna pop up.
Yeah,
Like
then yeah,
Trip gonna pop up in the corner of the screen somehow. We
yeah.
start talking about LeBron. Like remember on
We
that's my man. On he gonna pop up like message.
we
Like
start talking
on
LeBron too long. Then Tripp's ears start ringing, and he gonna be like, "Yo,
yeah, he gonna
y'all
be like,
lie,
yo,
y'all
what y'all
lie."
talking about LeBron for? That's my. I
Listen,
want to come back on the on y'all show, man. That'd be a vibe.
we definitely gonna make that happen.
Absolutely.
We're gonna do one more sports related topic, then we got to get into our main topic of the night, which is top black rom-coms. Originally, we said top 5, but well, I don't know if you just got 5 because I got 4 and like a bunch of honorable mentions.
Oh, I tried to be disciplined. I kept it to 5, but I could probably go like 13.
Right. So this one more sports comment because I like this one from Devontae Harris. And shout out to my man Ren Lewis over on IG. Like I said, I see some of the comments coming through when we was talking Wizards. He's a big Wizards fan. He said he loved when Rod Strickland was here with the Wizards, but he was only there for a couple of years. Very true. Devontae Harris wants to know.
Shout out to Ren.
We were talking Gil. This is a good comment right here. He said Gilbert Arenas on his show says media makes KD the villain because he went to the Warriors, but Warriors get credit when they begged him to come to them. Gil says Warriors the ones look weak for adding him. So obviously this is we're revisionist history. We're going back to the summer of 2010. Let me just set the stage here, and then Will, you can start off. 2010, the Warriors went 73-9. They beat Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals, but then they lose a 3-1 lead in the finals to LeBron and the Cavs. That summer, Kevin Durant was a free agent. Draymond Green has spoke about it plenty of times where he openly recruited Kevin Durant after they eliminated him from the playoffs, which then leads to Kevin Durant signing with them. They win 2 NBA championships. They get to the 3rd NBA Finals, and that's when Kevin Durant gets hurt before he leaves. So with that being said, Will, do you agree with Gilbert Arenas? Were the Warriors weak for adding him?
See, Gil says, and that's another one of my
a lot of shock value shit comes from Gil.
Exactly. It's like how serious am I supposed to take Gil? Because what he's saying is right and wrong, but he words it to the space where you don't know if he's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like he's very calculated in the way he words his takes. So were the Warriors weak for adding KD, or was KD weak for joining them? Is that the question?
He basically says the media spun this narrative like
that KD was weak,
the villain, and he was weak for joining them, but nobody criticizes the Warriors for going after him.
Okay, well, with it being like that, I kind of agree with Gil because if you KD and we rewind back to that time, you can go anywhere. You can write your own ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball is a job for KD. Everybody knows that. All basketball is a job. It's kind of like with the Joker. Like I live hoops, and that's it. After that, after the game's over, let me live my life. But I'm trying to win basketball games. KD was always that way. So if you're the most sought after free agent in basketball history, literally, and then you got a team that they're pretty fucking good. Like you've seen them, you've played against them. They're pretty good, and they're rolling out the red carpets for you. Why wouldn't you go to the Warriors? If, you know what I'm saying? Like, what he's supposed to go to the Knicks? What he's supposed to go like? What? I mean, no disrespect to your Knicks.
No,
but where are you supposed to go? You supposed to go to the Lakers just because they're the Lakers? You supposed to go to the Knicks just because they're the Knicks? You're supposed to go to Boston because they bought. Like, where was he supposed to go? If you got a job, like say you renovating your house, and the last thing you need done is the pool, and you know a dude that's been known to have the best pools available, like the best pools you can do. Why wouldn't you go finish out your $2 million house with the dude that can make your pool amazing? And that's what the Warriors said. Like, If he's a independent contractor at this point. That's what free agents are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go hire the best person for the job. He's gonna go to the not only the best financial situation, but they can also boost his professional resume. You know what I'm saying? It's basketball, sports, professional sports is all like real life. It's all situational, and what they do is the same things we would do in day-to-day life. It's just on a bigger scale because it's more public and the money involved. But we would all go to the Warriors if we would all go to the Warriors.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this, and this is why I say Gil. It's a lot of shock value with Gil. Gil is very, very calculated, and Gil is very savvy when it comes to this media thing. Because if you watch Gil's show, or even if the clips, let's say if you don't watch the show, but you're familiar with the clips, he has been very critical of players from the 90s. He's one of the lead guys who will say, "Oh, it was nothing but plumbers and guys working part-time jobs," right? But when he was at Fanatics Fest and he named who the best player of all time is, he said Mike.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's the thing.
Right. So he knows, like I said, he knows how to play this game for clickbait. He knows what gets the people riled up.
That's what he's doing.
What they say, Will, is provocative. It gets the people going.
Yeah.
So he knows how to stir the pot. He's doing that with this statement right here. First of all, the Warriors cannot be weak for adding a player. If you are any sports organization or franchise, right? Doesn't matter what sport it is. Your job is to put the best possible team on the field or court. It doesn't matter who it is, right? Your job is who are the best guys I can put on the field under our budget, right? We all have a budget to work under. We have a salary cap. Who's the best guys I can get? Are the Warriors, who had salary cap space, are they supposed to say, nah, we're not going to add, like you said, independent contractor, nah, we're not going to add Kevin Durant because it looks weak. No, this gives us the best shot to win year in, year out. Because that's what every team is looking to do, win. The reason the media makes Kevin Durant the villain is because Kevin Durant on multiple occasions has been hypocritical. He's spoken out of both sides of his mouth. And so when he does the things that he does, right, and then has burner accounts and gets mad for people critiquing his game, of course, you're going to become the villain. You naturally now become the guy who's an easy target. It's easy to go after Kevin Durant. It's easy to critique Kevin Durant, right? But I don't think that the media makes Kevin Durant the villain because he's a bad guy. They make him a villain purely based on basketball-related topics.
Yeah.
They're not singling him out and saying, hey, we just want to pick at Kevin Durant. It's like this dude got a burner account and he's sensitive about anything that's said about him. But this is also the same dude who will be on platforms critiquing other guys, their game. He'll be quick to critique other people in their space. So that's why they made him the villain. Now, to your point, Will, you're right. Summer 2010, I know for a fact the Knicks weren't a good team, and there was a lot of other teams that weren't good teams that were trying to go after Kevin Durant. But a lot of people were really upset with Kevin Durant because it's like, yo, you left the situation that was really, really good. You left the team that was just in the Western Conference Finals with Russell Westbrook. So it's not like you were on a bad team.
Fair. That's fair. Right? I didn't bring that up. That's fair.
It's not like you were on a bad team and then say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go play in a better situation. No, you were on a team that was really, really good and that was, one win away from being in the NBA Finals themselves to join. So that's why a lot of people criticize him. But I think in terms of just the comment about the Warriors, Gil is completely wrong because we as fans, we want our teams to go after the best players no matter what. It doesn't matter if right now, if the Wiz, let's say Wiz would have had the number one pick and you get Cooper Flag, would that now have stopped you to say, yo, let's go get another good young player. Let's go get another awesome. No, go get as many guys as you can to win. And that's what the Warriors did. We can't be mad at the Warriors for that.
True. That's all true facts you just stated.
Devontae Harris, yo, we're going to get to that. Like I said, that comment from Pooh. Pooh asked me to save that for the end of the show. It's a question that she got for Will and I regarding Tupac. So we're going to save that.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Shout out to Gary. Gary's been lighting up the comment section.
What up, Gary?
He said finally able to get in here, fire mark emoji. What else we got?
What did he say? Finally able to get. Oh, that's what's up, Gary. Thanks for tuning in, man. I know you've been going through it. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Oh man, Gary, I hope all is well. Yeah, so we're gonna get to the topic of the night. Yeah,
Sure.
I agree. Gary said he ready for some football. Get football back.
Hell yeah. I'm about to bust Gary's
Oh,
ass in fantasy this year. He gonna give me his money.
shout out to Gary on this one. I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to mention it. Will Gordon. Well, I got to talk to Will about it too because we got to get Will involved in the loop on this because we got a project we're doing. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Will, you and I will talk off air, but this kind of correlates with what you talked about getting you over on Real Fans Real Talk. I'm just so happy we get football back this month. I've been gaming on some college football 26 to keep me busy. So be on the lookout, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Real Fans Real Talk. This is going to be the first year we're going to be rolling out a Madden League. So we've had our fantasy football league before. Will Gordon rocks with us on the fantasy side. We'll be doing something very special with Madden when it comes out next month. And we're going to be rolling out a online Madden League where we're actually going to be broadcasting during the games. But stay tuned for more details on that. Not this upcoming Monday, but the following Monday, we should have some more details about getting people signed up if they're interested and how you can watch. We're going to be streaming live the same way we do the show. We're going to be streaming games live. It's almost going to be like a Manning cast type effect. So it's something cool and interactive that we want to do. Let's see. And like I said, Pooh, we get into your question last. So let's get to the topic of the night. And before we do, make sure you subscribe to the Sanchez Show. We're live every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. We're over on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Shout out. I see people coming in and out the live on Instagram, man. I hope the connection over there is solid. I know we had some issues. Yeah, my man wants to stay focused. Said it's provocative. It gets the people going. All right. Will, let's go, man. Top black rom-coms. I love this topic. You presented this one to me last week. It's a lot of good ones on the list. And for the people that, if you missed what we did most disrespectful movie characters a week ago. We got some great responses on that.
That was fun.
Not only was that episode 5, you can go back. It's on the archives on YouTube, and I got it up on my Instagram as well. The full episode is up on Instagram. My man Ren, who's been tuning in on Instagram, do you know the other day he came to me and said, y'all need to do the female version of the grimiest / most disrespectful actresses.
Females?
Yeah,
that's what's happening, man. I'm with that.
He brought up some good candidates for it as well. So, like I said, people was fucking with it because I got people at work coming to me like, nah, y'all should have did it with this now. Do it with the female version. So
that's viewers. That's why we have fun, man. Like this is the fun shit. And that's why it's so interactive. Like we want y'all to give us ideas for that kind of thing because we'll roll with it and we're gonna make it fun, man. It's the dog days of summer. It's time to have some fun.
So let's get to it. Top black rom-coms, right?
Yes.
If you want to start with your number 1, your number 5, whatever direction you want to go, I'm gonna let you go first though.
I'm going first. All right. So I'm gonna go. I'm not. You know what? I will go in. I'm going with number 1. I'm starting off with number 1. My number 1 black rom-com is The Best Man.
I had that on my list.
It's starring Tay Diggs, Nia Long, Morris Chestnut, Harold Perrineau.
It's an all-star cast.
Like my man, what's my man light skin? Mine.
Oh, Terrence Howard.
Yeah, Terrence Howard.
Skinny man.
Great movie. Mm-hmm. If you ain't seen it, check it out. A story that we've never seen in a movie before. It was a completely original idea directed by Malcolm D. Lee, cousin of Spike Lee. It showed black people in a professional, successful light. Everybody in that cast was living a great life. Mm-hmm. You had Morris Chestnut as as Lance Sullivan, successful New York Giants running back. You had Tay Diggs as Harper, great author that he's writing books. He's about to be on Oprah. You had like everybody was doing great things. It was black excellence, and the storyline is ridiculous. If you ain't seen it, Like if you ain't seen, fuck it. If you ain't seen The Best Man, I can spoil it at this point because it came out long enough ago to where
It's
you should have
what,
seen.
20, almost 25 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole storyline is just ridiculous. The acting is top notch, and I'm gonna let y'all know. Like, and Eric has been gracious enough to even y'all know I'm a big time family man with my kids. My son Quentin, and my daughter Mia. Both of their names came from characters of The Best Man.
That's dope.
Terrence Howard played Quentin, and I forget my girl's name that played Mia, but she was the wife. She was the one marrying Morris Chestnut. I forget her real name in real life. She was also in Players Club. I forget her name, but I love those names. I love that movie.
That's
and
great range as an actress to be Shorty from Players Club. I just came here to
yeah,
dance.
to all the way to be trying to be the good girl.
Yeah.
But in The Best Man, she was the good girl until the flashback, and she turned around. Remember in the flashback? She turned around biting that lip.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't the good girl in that moment. But shout out to The Best Man. That's my number one black rom-com of all time.
It is on my list. I had it, like I said, right at that 5th spot. I do like the movie a lot. I'm gonna take you back to an OG.
All right.
To me, I think there's a rom-com. I'm gonna be honest. It probably falls more line of comedy, but there's romance in it too. Can we count Coming to America as a black rom-com?
Well,
he goes to America looking for love, right?
Since it's number 3 on my list.
All right.
Of course we gonna count that shit.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So see.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah, take it away. Take it away.
I have Best Man, but to me, Coming to America is one of my all-time favorites. I think Coming to America could be in any type of debate for top 5 all time. But if we're talking black rom-com, I mean, the comedy is second to none. It's high level Eddie Murphy.
You're right.
You're right. The overall premise and the concept of the movie is for him to come to America, and so is Roy Oates, according to his dad, right? He looking for romance. he looking for romance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So overall, there's so many quotables in the movie. Obviously, Sexual Chocolate is a great character. Homies in a Barbershop is great characters.
See, you're not even playing fair because if we keep it in a buck, Coming to America is probably the number 1 comedy of all time.
That's what I'm saying. It probably is, but to me, it's on the list. I'll put it on the list.
I think we actually did that, Eric. Like 2 years ago, we did.
Yeah, we did comedy
top 10 comedies.
Yeah,
and I bet Coming to America was number 1.
But I put Coming to America on the
list.
Yeah. We go ahead. We can move on. Everybody knows how great of a movie it is. So, and if you haven't seen Coming to America, just listen. Cut off all your streaming and cable. I don't know why you're wasting your time watching anything else. If you haven't seen Coming to America.
Forget cut off your streaming and cable. Cut your throat. Yeah, if you ain't seen Coming to America this point in life. What are you doing in life?
You obviously don't like comedy. You don't like great movies. But what else you got on the list?
You know what? Since you went Coming to America, I had it tied in because a lot of cast is similar. It's very similar. Got to go with Boomerang, man.
Oh man, I got Boomerang. I had it on my list as number 3. Originally, when I wrote it down, it was number 2, and then I moved Coming to America up. But Boomerang's on the list.
Boomerang is ridiculous, man. Marcus, darling, I'm not wearing any pants. Yo, Boomerang. First of all, can we talk about the cast?
Another great cast.
Eddie Murphy, David Allen Greer, Martin Lawrence, Robin Givens, Halle Berry, Pops.
No, hold on. You got to coordinate. And then
that's what I'm talking about. For some reason, I can't remember his name in this moment right now. John Witherspoon. His wife, there was Myra from Martin.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Chris Rock.
Yeah, he worked in the mailroom.
Yes.
An amazing cast.
That cast was in Same. That storyline. Oh, Tisha Campbell was in there.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, right? The cast is A1, but I'm surprised that nobody's ever tried to recreate Boomerang because, like you said, the storyline it's something that's recreatable. It's not like it's out of the realm of possibility,
Absolutely. You could put all the new young hot actors that are
right? And recreate the
now in
storyline,
the same story and redo it. Yep, you
right?
sure could. You sure could. And what's beautiful about that movie also is the relationships because that's why a movie like that was so great. It's because the chemistry was so natural between the cast, and you can attest to that by the works that they did beyond Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
Tisha and Martin, you know what I'm saying? John Witherspoon, part of Martin.
Mm-hmm.
The actress that portrayed Myra in Martin, that was John Witherspoon's wife in Martin. David Allen Greer, Reverend Leon Lonnie Love in Martin. You know what I'm saying? It's like they kept it in that pocket, and you knew it was like they were. It was almost like they watched out for each other and just made great works, man. Just made
Mm-hmm.
great works.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. If you that's another one. If you haven't watched it, bro, you will not be disappointed. Trust me. And like I said,
And it
that's
and it holds up. These are all
that's what
movies
I say.
that
Yeah,
we mentioned, and they
these
all
hold
hold
up.
up to today. You can
You
watch
put those
them
movies
now
on now,
like
you'll
they just
enjoy
came
it.
out.
Well, since we speaking of Martin, we did two Eddie Murphys already, right? We went back to back Eddie Murphy. Martin was supporting actor in that. I mean, you got to go thin line between love and hate.
You know what? I was thinking about Thin Line because I love Thin Line,
Yeah,
but the calm part,
the
I feel like it's
comedy.
more like a romantic thriller.
All right. I mean, I think it's the comedy in it because you got the scene when
I mean, there was definitely comedy in it.
I don't know his real name. I only know him by Pretty Ricky from Pretty Ricky, what they call him.
Oh, when he
When,
came,
when,
when he showed up with the
with the
chicken
chicken,
box.
with the chicken. Nigga showed up
Yeah.
for the date. He showed up for the
Um,
date with the chicken
it's
box.
something like his name is something Dominguez or something.
Yeah,
Everybody know Pretty Ricky what they call him.
Pretty Ricky, what they call him. And then he said his family owed a bunch. He said yeah, his family owed a bunch of
Yeah.
chicken boxes.
And then you showed up with a chicken dinner box.
He showed up with a 4-piece chicken dinner
Yeah,
box. Yo,
yeah,
Bobby Brown is funny in the joint.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think overall they said that this
Uh,
comedy it probably leads more on the romance and then the thriller aspect of it, but there's comedy throughout.
I
I
love
thought
that movie though,
I do
because
too.
because I used to want to be a club owner, and there was two reasons I wanted to own a club. First of all, the first one, it was a sitcom way back in the day that y'all gonna have to Google to. It was called Out All Night, and it starred Patti LaBelle, Dwayne
Oh
Martin,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Morris
yeah,
Chestnut.
yeah.
Remember that?
I
Dwayne
remember
Martin,
that.
Morris Chestnut, and Patti LaBelle, they owned the nightclub. They were partners. That made me want to own a nightclub. And then the next thing that made me want to own a nightclub, which is only like 2 years later, was a thin line between love and hate. When they named of course, Martin being from the DMV, the name, you remember the name of the club that him and Bobby Brown ran?
Nah.
Chocolate City.
Oh yeah, Chocolate City it was. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, you gotta know the Easter eggs on that. Like it was
Right,
called Chocolate City because what was DC used to be called. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Bobby Brown and Martin in that movie had me wanting to be because I also thought I was a player. You know what I'm saying? And they was trying to get the ladies or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That made me want to be a nightclub owner also. But that movie had some gems in it. Like
Mm-hmm.
when shout out to Della Reese, man, the great Della Reese. A lifetime of pain. I mean, a nighttime of passion
Yep.
will lead to a nighttime of pain. I mean, a lifetime of pain, and that's something I've lived by forever. When they be like, I mean, all right, just period. When I was faced to make some tough decisions in certain night times, and I think, okay, a night of passion will bring you a life of pain. I'm like, nope, get up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
And
fact.
and it also taught you can't be telling these girls whatever they want to hear.
That's a fact.
Because remember Martin's Martin's credo, and that was like, yeah, I don't tell him I love him, you know?
Yeah, that was his principles that he stood on until, you know what I'm saying, that fateful night. Will, let me know what's going on. We gotta get your connection right. I don't know if we got kicked off here. All right, let's go solo shot until Will Gordon comes back. We're gonna get his connection right. For those of you that's just joining, again, make sure you subscribe to the Sanchez Show. We're live every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. over on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Shout out to Instagram. We got a couple people came through on Instagram on that side. I see the comments. I've been flipping back and forth on those. We've been doing top Black rom-coms tonight. We did Best Man, Coming to America, Boomerang, Thin Line Between Love and Hate was the last one I just did where we was mentioning some of the quotables from the movie. As I mentioned, guys, make sure you are also subscribed to Real Fans Real Talk. We'll be back in a week and a half. We normally go live on Mondays at 7 p.m. But next week, we got the week off of both shows. So there won't be any lives next week. But make sure you subscribe, though, because we're going to get back to it the following week, guys. Shout out to the comment section as well, man. Shout out to Gary. We get some of the comments up that we just had coming through. I never watched rom-coms much, so I don't know any real is in my style genre. It's cool. Listen, every now and then, you know what I'm saying, there's some good ones. It's not my favorite genre, but I definitely, you know, dive into some depending on who the cast is. Who else we got here? Gary said, keep posted on that for sure. We were talking about the league that we're going to be putting together for Real Fans Real Talk. And Will, I got you right now. Let's bring Will back in. There we go, bro.
My bad, man. I dropped my phone and knocked everything off.
Nah, you good.
So where we at?
All right, so we did Best Man, Coming to America, Boomerang, Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Oh, so it's on me now, man.
Yep.
Well, this is, first of all, this is kind of, actually, I'm gonna leave one for last. I got two more, but I'm gonna go to this one first. I feel like it's kind of slept on, but it came out 2002. It also stars a lot of the usual suspects. Two of the cast members from this are from number one, which was The Best Man.
I think I know what you're gonna pick too.
It's called Brown Sugar.
I knew it. I have it on here.
Incredible movie. Like, it's so slept on because it's not on. It's like a love story about love, and it's a love story to hip hop.
That I was about to say. That's what I like about it. Right.
As well, and it's intertwined. Like the whole, like the love for the music and the love for each other is intertwined, and it's done in such a beautiful way. Did Malcolm D. Lee direct that too?
I gotta check. I'm not sure who directed that, but I agree.
I can't remember. Maybe he didn't, but
that's what makes the movie stand out for me. It's the the love of a passion, right? So the music in this case, right? Your passion for it, your love for it, which then obviously as the movie progresses turns into the love, the physical love for someone else. You know what I'm saying? And their history together. I think Brown Sugar is a dope movie.
And it also is another one that shows us in the light of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Of everybody being at the top of their form, at the top of their careers, you know, which is something we need visually for kids now. We don't see that. Even now, we don't see that kind of stuff a lot. But the imagery to see success, to see us as a success story instead of trying to just, you know, we all didn't come from the trenches, and that's what they all focus on. But you know, it just showed us being positive and emotional and vulnerable, and like we are people. That's what Hollywood, I feel like, misses a lot. Like, we not just the next hot thing. We not what's popping today, or you know, or the dude that's making a hot song, or like, because you. How many times have you seen a movie and they just throw in a rapper or something just because that's the hot rapper? And then, like, no disrespect, Dr. Dre had no business being in Training Day, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, when are we going to stop trying to make things pop just because we are popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can make things pop just off the fruit of our labor and our talent. And that's where I feel like a movie like Brown Sugar excelled in it. And it's a great cast. I feel like the cast carried the movie.
I think that's the underlying theme though in all these movies we mentioned. If you look at the cast, I remember a lot of these people weren't household names at the time. So it speaks to really how talented they were. That like you said, they carried the movie, and then when we look back, we're like, yo, that's damn near all-star cast. But at the time, they weren't viewed that way. They were all up and comers for the most part.
So you had Lawrence Tate. I mean, not Lawrence. You had Tay Diggs. You had Sanaa Lathan,
Mm-hmm.
who is I risk it all for her.
that's a different list. That's a different list.
That's another show. So you had Sanaa Lathan. You had Tay Diggs, Queen Latifah, in what I think was her best role that she's ever had. Even from Set It Off, I think her role in Brown Sugar was her in her most natural state. And then you had Mos Def, who's always had acting chops all the way back from when he was doing a sitcom back in the day with I can't remember the one. Was it Nell Carter? Mos Def did a sitcom when he was like 13 or 14 years old. Y'all look that up. It was called I can't think what it was called. But he's had acting chops since he was a kid, and the role he played in that was where he was naturally awkward. You know what I mean? Trying to holler at Queen Latifah, and then they ended up getting together. I mean, that was just a beautiful movie. I feel like it's one of those movies where you turn it on and it keeps your interest from start to finish, and by the time you finish watching it, you feel good. You know what I mean? It's like it was like a feel good movie. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that joint is fire. I got this was like my fifth one because like I said we mentioned some of the other ones, but now that we're talking about it, I'm like, yo, this actor kind of dominated this list a little bit. He been here a couple times already. It's Tay Diggs again, but this is The Wood. This is what I thought you was originally going. The Wood got to be on the list.
The Wood is my honorable mention, man.
I got it on the list, man. I had it as
I'll let you rock.
No, again, we're gonna go back and forth.
That's a great one. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Great movie. Obviously, what I love about the movie, and because of the timing when it came out. When it came out, I was in high school. So looking back on it, and when you look at that friendship, I left New York when I was 13, so I could relate to Tay Diggs as a kid as the main character.
Moved from North Carolina.
Yeah, moved from North Carolina. So he moved to a completely different city. He don't know none of these people. He's making new friends. You're adjusting. But you also at that age where you want to holler at shorties. You want to be at the dance. You know what I'm saying? Like you developing as a young man. So it's all the concepts which then leads to this lifelong friendship culminating with the wedding day, which any man to tell you, you know what I'm saying, is a nerve-wracking day to know that you're making that type of commitment. So overall, the movie's dope to me. There's a lot of honorable mention parts in terms of lines. There's comedy in it where there's him learning how to dance. He got to deal with the situation with He got to deal with the situation with the older brother, which we all been in that situation when you learn when you got to deal with the older brother now, and then you finally get the girl you always wanted. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of classic material in The Wood.
And I liked how they did it in stages. You know what I mean? And man, that was brilliant because that was my era. You know, I'm a little bit older than you. That was really my era. So I remember kicking it with my boys before we go to the school dance. I remember going to the corner store and getting gum. And you know what I'm saying? I remember making sure everybody had paper. I remember making sure everybody had a pen. So you know what I'm saying? See who can get the most numbers.
Right.
That was a real thing. I remember goosing girls on the playground. You know what I'm saying? Run, smack them on the butt. I mean, that ain't a thing now. It's 2025. I'm talking about like the 80s.
Yeah, we talking.
I remember them days. Everything that happened in that movie. I remember that kind of stuff happening. Fast forward even to the before the wedding. You know, all the mishaps that happened with the getting too drunk and vomiting over everything. Like that whole movie was like real, and I think anybody that watched it could at some point in the movie feel like that they can relate to that situation, to whatever pocket in that movie. Like it was some point of it that you remember, oh yeah, that happened to me, or I knew about a story like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to The Wood. That's a great one. It made my honorable mention. That's a great one to be on the list, man.
What else you got? Give me one more, and we're gonna get to Pooh's question, because
All
I think
right,
this is gonna be a
I'm
long
gonna finish it off.
conversation.
This is why you won't win fitted wars tonight, because I only wore a fitted that matches the tee, but I felt like the tee was more appropriate for the subject matter of the show tonight. Let me make sure my shit's looking right here. So this is another one, in the 90s and early 2000s, it was only about 20 black actors that was getting all the work. That's why we have so many repeat actors. But here's another one with a repeat of Lorenz Tate and Nia Long. Little movie called Love Jones, Mike.
That's on my honorable mentions.
Little movie called Love Jones, man. Remember the scene?
Bro. Everything I had on the joint is scratched off at this point. Yeah.
See? Remember the scene when they was riding through the city?
Classic movie, yep.
That shit was dope. That was a dope scene. And it was no words spoke. There was just riding to the soundtrack, man. Love Jones is amazing. It's like out of all the movies we talked about, I kind of feel like they're all like a boy meets girl story, you know? But Love Jones might be the more real life, organic, could happen in real life situation where he's in the record store going through the vinyls and he sees this girl walk in and he's feeling her, and and then he's trying to holler at who works at the store. Let me get her information. I'm trying to holler at her, whatever. My man pulled up to the crib. Like that's next level stalker type stuff now.
Yeah, that'll be tough to recreate now.
But back then, that's how you had to do work to get girls. I be telling these youngest, like,
man,
y'all be swiping left and right. Man, we had to really, really put in work, and that was acceptable. Like you were showing effort. They were together, they broke up, they're back together, which everybody, has been through before. Another movie, when I say it's been the theme of the night, Cast. Cast was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and this is another movie, like every movie we've mentioned tonight. Quotable lines, you know what I'm saying?
Quotables.
I'm saying I'm like when I'm talking about something, like if I'm debating an issue with somebody, I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down. What do you say? I'm gonna break it down till it can ever be broken or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna break it down to the point where it cannot be broke. Still say that shit. Still, Bill Bellamy. Shout out to Bill Bellamy, one of the underrated comedians of our generation. Shout out to Bill Bellamy. He was the asshole of the movie. We could have had him on last week's episode. He played Hollywood in this movie, who was a jerk, who was trying to snake Lorenz Tate's girl whole time. And then when he was successful, and then she was trying to get back with Lorenz Tate's character, Darius. He's like, when she was talking about, I'm ready to leave. Remember she was ready to leave? He was like, but he drove. He was like, how am I get home? He said, and this is probably the thing that to this day I still say. Walk. How am I supposed to get home? Walk. like I'm done with you at this point. Walk, bitch. Right? Great movie. Great. Oh, let's not. We could probably say this about every movie we mentioned. The soundtrack.
Yeah.
What happened to soundtracks, man? Remember when soundtracks used to be the hottest album of the year?
Well, in order for you to have a high-profile movie back in the day, you had to have a great soundtrack, because the soundtrack was used as the rollout for the movie.
It was fire. And
the soundtrack
man,
would give you like 2 bangers that you had to have a video for. That in that video would incorporate the scenes from the movie, which would then drum up the hype. Like, nah, I got to see that joint.
I'm thinking everything we mentioned tonight, except for maybe Coming to America, had a banging soundtrack.
Yeah, because Coming to America, that was prior to that era.
Drums.
Yeah. Shout out to my man Ren over on Instagram. He said he mentioned Jason's lyric.
Ooh.
It's a classic too.
But that's no comedy in that.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's more love, romance. That ain't really.
There's no comedy in Jason's lyric. The only funny part of Jason's lyric. Who was it that shouted that out? Who was that?
My man Ren.
Ren. Hey Ren. The only funny part of Jason's lyric is when he was about to smash Jada in the field, and he had this motherfucker was like hairy as. That's the only thing I remember is I'm sitting in the movie theater watching this giant, and when he got naked, pause this whole comment. But when he got naked and was hairy and shit, and the girls in the theater who loved that dude, what was the actor's name? I forget him. Loved him. Alan Payne. And it was a collective ew. The whole theater. That was the funniest thing. It was a collective ew. And then one girl that was like, she was like 6 people down from me. She said, his ass hairy. Like, I'll never forget how the way she said it, bro. It was like a classic Sue Merlin chick. She was like, his ass hairy. Yeah. That was the funniest part of Jason's lyric, and it wasn't supposed to be funny. So I can't put that in the rom-com category.
Unintentional comedy. Oh, yo, you said something a minute ago I want to circle back to, bro. Because I have this conversation with my nephews all the time. And then we get into Pooh's question, man. Right? Y'all young men nowadays, bro, for any of our younger viewers, y'all do not know how easy y'all got it, bro. You can literally go on your phone, like some pictures, send a message, no risk involved. And if Shorty take the bait, she take the bait. And if she don't, you ain't got to live with no type of heartbreak or letdown or embarrassment. Will and I from an era. Will you correct? It might have been a little different down at PG, but I'm assuming it was probably the same. First thing first, you know the courage it took to walk up to a shorty that you didn't know the phone number.
That was the norm. Yeah.
You had to. You had to have heart, right? You had, because it wasn't like now. It's like there's dudes now. The reason I say this because I got nephews that are teenagers. They could see a joint, never speak to her in person, somehow be able to track her Instagram down and then just shoot her a message. It's like, yo, y'all was just in the same room for like 3 hours. You ain't say one word.
You had nothing to say.
And now you're going to spend the next 2 hours finding her Instagram through a friend's page and then try to talk to her that way. So you ain't had no courage to do it when y'all was in person. That's first.
Right.
Then this is the real part that took balls. I got to call your house and I don't know who picking up this phone.
Your father's answering the phone.
Your father, mother, older sibling, God forbid your older brother pick up the phone. You know what I'm saying? And then I gotta have the courage to ask you, but I gotta be smooth enough that they think it's all right to pass you the phone. Because if I sound timid, they're not gonna give you the phone.
Yeah.
I gotta sound like this is regular.
And you could go in built up, like I'm ready to make this call. And you make the call and she can't come to the phone.
Yep.
Which meant either she was busy doing something or they was on the other line. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't gonna get off their call to give it to their daughter. It was a whole different ball game. Like you had to be on top of your game.
You had to have heart to survive in that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The other thing too, like I had this whole conversation with my nephew, right? My nephew and my oldest daughter go to completely different schools, completely different counties. But he knows girls at her school purely through Instagram, right? He don't know them in person. He never went to class with them, but he know them purely through Instagram. And it reminded me, I'm like, yo, remember back in the day, right? Like if you had a cousin who lived across town and they had like a little get together and you saw one of their friends, you had to shoot your shot in that moment because you're never going to see her again. I don't go to school with you. I'm never going to see you again. So I got to convince you in these 45 minutes that we together that I should get your phone number.
Then I should be the one. Yep.
Right. And then if I get your phone number, I probably still ain't never gonna see you anyway because you live across town and I'm too young to drive.
Yes, because everything back then was about proximity. It wasn't you couldn't talk to no girl that went to another school because how you gonna talk to her? Like how you gonna even meet her?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was all about your neighborhood or who you went to school with, and that was your net. And that was your net. That's as far as your net could go.
That's it. You didn't have the range. Also, we come from an era, bro, where if you went to the party, right? We talked about the situation like with the wood, right? You could not be somebody, you couldn't be shy. You couldn't go in the spot and hold up the wall for 4 hours. Because the shorties, they're gonna look at you like you boring. You had to have the courage to ask a girl to dance or just throw yourself out there and just start dancing on something on the dance floor.
Yeah, you had to immediately start dance. Do they even dance today?
That's what I'm saying. Dance?
Like that, and that was part of your, like, that was half your game. You better be able to dance. Ain't no chick gonna come out there on the floor with you. You can't dance.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now. I have an older cousin, God rest his soul. He passed away like about a year and a half ago. His name was also Eric as well. But he was a real ladies' man. Motherfucker was dumb as a doorknob because he was stupid as, I swear to God, he was stupid. But he had the gift of gab. He could talk to any female. Bro, I remember when he was like 16, he was dating a shorty that was like 25, bro.
Okay.
He could bag a joint. He had two skills. He was a handsome dude and he could dance. So he could bag a joint. And he used to put me and my other cousin on game, teaching us like, yo, now when you get it, this is how you got to do it. And mind you, this is like before puberty hit. So he was the one who first put me on game. He's like, nah, this is what you do, E. He's like, you know, I was a shorter dude. I ain't hit no growth spurt yet. He's like, don't dance to the regular songs. Get on the slow dance. And he was like, since you ain't got no bass in your voice, sing the words to the song in her ear. You're going to get it. I tried that shit when I was like 11 years old. And this girl I thought I had no shot with, like almost instantly loved me, bro. And I'm like, yo, this is like, on to something. Like, he know. And I swear to God, for 2 straight years, that was my move.
You singing in ears?
Regular songs, like, yeah, I'm going to do my little 2-step and chill. But once you put one of them slow jams on, showtime, baby.
Yeah, yo, what were you singing, E? What songs did you sing?
Oh, Shy, If I Ever Fall in Love. Candy Rain. Well, Candy Rain was a little more sped up joint. What's the other joint I used to like? Anything Boys to Men.
You was out here.
Oh,
singing Please Don't Go in Their Ears, huh?
Nah. Remember when I was like in 7th grade. Remember when New Edition came back around, Still in Love?
Dog. You was in 7th grade then?
Yeah, bro.
Yo, I still got the ticket stub. I went to that tour, the New Edition reunion, the Home Again tour. I was there at the Capitol Center. At the Capitol Center in DC. Oh, it was DC Air Arena at the time or something like that.
And I remember when we first left New York, because my step-pops joined the Army when I was 13. So it was like me, like middle school. And we lived in Fort Knox, Kentucky for like a year and a half. And I never experienced this because I was a Bronx kid before that my whole life. They used to have, like, the rec center used to have lock-ins where it was like an all-night sleepover type joint. They used to have the basketball tournaments. You could bring your sleeping bag. You could just be locked into the joint all night. And they used to have, like, the one room that was like the party room where they had music playing. And I pulled my New York move, and the shorties loved it. And
I pulled
my New York move, like, oh, word, wait
till you start Harlem taking us?
Nah, I'm saying when they played the slow jams.
What was the New York move then?
No, I'm saying when they played the slow jams, I was ready to go.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
But homies out there hated me for that, bro. Hated me, bro. Because, like, oh, this motherfucker think he all that.
Right.
Now I'm the new dude in town, so nobody know me.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing shit. Everybody else trying to be too cool.
Yeah, because the chicks is already checking for you because you the new dude.
They were like, yo, who the fuck is the new dude?
Yeah, you already the new guy.
Yeah, so now I'm pulling a move that everybody else thinking they too cool to dance to slow jams, but I'm using my older cousin technique. Like, nah, fuck that. I'm in there. Y'all want to dance to slow jams? I'm dancing all the slow jams.
You came out there hitting the dude from the wood joint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's why I ain't give a fuck. But I'm just saying, y'all young boys now, man, y'all got it too easy, bro. Y'all need to get outside. Y'all need to put some groundwork in. You got to get rejected a couple times because that's the only really way that you know what's happening out here.
Think if we had text messages, just something as simple as texting. Like, you can get a text from somebody and think about how you're gonna respond to it for hours before you put the perfect 3 words together to respond. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
yo, it was all face to face, like real time, like live time interaction. And these kids today, they don't know how
yo,
easy it is.
bro. When I was growing up, first of all, my grandmother was pretty much the person that watched me every day. My mom was a single mom. My mom be at work. My grandmother was not letting me use the house phone. I used to have to go to the payphone downstairs, and I used to have like a pocket full of quarters. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Calling joints on the phone. You know how mad you are, bro? You done gone through like $2 worth of quarters, and you call the shorty, and now she got to get off the phone already.
Yeah. You're like, damn. And then
Damn,
you
I
got
got
and then you sit there wait for the call it back.
yeah. Or she like, oh, call me after 7. You got quarters for me? Shit, how the
Like,
fuck I'm gonna
yeah,
call you back? This is all I had right here. This is what I had.
yo, that's so crazy, man. It was a simpler time then, of course, but I think it was better because I think relationships were stronger then.
I think the connection to people was different. You had to value somebody's time.
Yeah.
Because I see it
And
now, like my daughter will have friends come over, and then I go in the living room and they watching a movie, but they both on their phone. Like this would be her
see, that's the
homegirls who
thing.
came over to hang
Every
out, and it's like, yo, y'all watching this or not? Because if y'all
yeah,
not
you
watching
could
this,
have
get out the
did this.
living.
Yeah, you could have did this from your house. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
like
saying?
go outside, bro. Go do something.
It's the interaction, person to person interaction. It's just not something that's commonplace anymore, and that's why we are in the state that we are now. Not to go deep, pause, but that's why it is the way it is now. It's because we don't interact personally anymore, which leads to us not understanding each other on every level, no matter what the subject. Without personal interaction and understanding, people's feelings and the way they are about certain situations, the way you are about certain situations, and getting to know each other as human beings, that
Mm-hmm.
interaction does not take place anymore due to the state of everything that we do. Technology is awesome. I'm not sitting here telling you to get off my lawn, but at the same time, it's a gift and a curse
Yes.
because how many kids do you see now out here, little kids? And I can speak on this because I got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. How many little kids do you see out here that don't even know how to interact with other children?
Yep.
That is crazy
Socially
to me.
awkward. Socially awkward.
Socially awkward kids. Like my kids, we go to the playground around here, and my kids are playing with other kids, and they might, introduce themselves or, hey, you want to swing on the swings? Like that's how my kids are. And then these little kids are like looking at them
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like they don't like, oh, am I allowed to? It's like it's crazy. But then when you look at their parents, who aren't much older than them, they socially awkward too because they came up, and they came up where I could be their parents if I did the math. You know what I'm saying? It's
Nah, that's
just
a
because they
fact.
came up in the generation of text messaging and being on your phone and the internet.
I
It was
think
way better when you actually had to make a personal connection with people and
I
you
agree.
actually had to, that's what, like with me and you, like, not to be on no, you know, I'll just say pause now, but like with me and you, like everything with our relationship as brothers is organic.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It was nothing was built on bullshit. It was all on getting to know each other as people.
Yeah,
And
I think
then,
that's
you
a
know what I'm
major
saying?
thing that's it's a
And
major thing that's lost.
in every aspect of life, bro. And I wasn't trying to go on no tangent and take it here, but every aspect, like we were talking about comedies, from laughing, like if we as a people, and we always go final thought, and I'm gonna throw it out right now. As a people, we need to understand each other again.
Mm-hmm.
And on every level, you don't gotta agree with each other. Just understand each other or listen. You know what I'm saying? Like get to know each other. You ain't if you ain't gotta fall in love with the next man, but at least know where you're coming from and at least be respectful of this perspective. Because if we could all do that, if we could all do that, then it'd be a much better place, man.
I agree. I laughed real quick because Ren was asking. He said, "My man, what movie you saw Jason Lyrics at?" He said he saw it at Riverton. He was asking when
Oh,
you made
Rimtown.
about the joke. Yeah.
I I probably saw. I saw Jason Lyric where I saw every other movie. Marlow Heights. I'm from PG, like Capitol Heights, District Heights, Fordsville, Suitland, like district, like that area. So every time I went to the movies, unless I was trying to impress a chick, we was going down Marlow.
All right, there you go. Now, this is the final question of the night. Pooh wanted us to wait to the end. So here we go. This is how we're going to end it off.
Hey, Pooh.
She wants to know for both of us. She's younger than y'all. So my question is Tupac, great rapper, actor. He was a very smart man. But what is it that's keeping him relevant today? What made Pac special to y'all?
That's a great question.
That is an amazing question, Pooh. I'll say this. There's a couple things, and there's a couple layers to Pac. First of all, for him to have the mindset he had at 24 years old, right? To him to be as socially aware as he was and have an understanding of what was going on in the world, what was going on in this country, I think speaks to his intellect and just speaks to his maturity at his age. Now, did he do a lot of immature things? Yeah, absolutely. Most early 20-year-old men will. That's to be expected. But again, he was they use the term woke now, but he was so socially aware. If you go back and listen to his interviews and he's talking about the poor.
Spit knowledge.
Yeah, just knowledge, right? Speaking about the economic struggles of the Black and brown community. Speaking about like the divide within our country, but also like the social dynamics and the social issues that we still face to this day. When you think about it, again, he was talking about this at 24 years old in the early 90s. We're 30 years later and we're still experiencing some of these same things. Police brutality, right? Poverty still, and the homelessness is still at an all-time high. The economic and wealth divide within the country, specifically if we want to talk white and black, white and brown, there's a massive divide financially in those classes. The rich continue to get richer and the rich continue to make decisions for this country based in what's in their best interest. These are all things Pac was talking about in the early 90s. So I think that's what made Pac special. In terms of what's keeping him relevant, it's really hip hop culture and those who are around for Pac. Because anybody who's younger than, I'll say anybody who's maybe under 35 years old, you wouldn't understand Pac's impact. You weren't really around to see it. So you wouldn't understand it. Now the music is what keeps him relevant in most places, and maybe people still connect with the music. But he was truly a revolutionary at a time when we were still trying to figure out ourselves. And for him to have the courage to speak up the way he was speaking up. Remember, he caught a charge helping somebody who was being beat by the police when he gets into the shootout with the cop. That was him actually helping just a random person on the street who he noticed was getting roughed up by the cops, and he steps in and shooting the cop. So there was a lot of things at that time and then at that era that made Pac the superstar that he was. And then I think our era and the hip hop coaches was allowed him his spirit to live on, where we continue to speak of him in high praise the way we do.
Pac was different, man, and that's why a lot of people like my age or Eric's age really hold Tupac in such reverence that we do. Mm-hmm. Everything he mentioned, everything Eric mentioned, like the whole time I was making notes this whole time because like I wasn't expecting this question, which is an awesome question. But what made him different to me is at the time, because Pac was only a few years older than me. At the time, it was like, okay, there was rap and there was rappers that were famous, but Tupac kind of gave you like it was like a vibe that was like no rapper before him had, because of he was able to balance like being the pretty boy for the ladies, but also being like the revolutionary. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying, at the same time, which was not something we had seen before. Like, you were either this or you were that. You know, with Tupac, he was like, I probably the best way to explain what he was to, like, for me, was he was young, reckless, and relatable, which was a perfect trifecta. You know what I'm saying? Like he was young to where he was still like, you know, he wasn't out of touch. So he was like what was hot. He was reckless about all the things we know that have happened in his,
Mm-hmm.
you know, life behind the camera, in front of the camera. But he was relatable because we all had been through some shit, and he embraced the struggle. You know what I mean? He embraced the problems we were having with police violence. He embraced the discrimination problems we were having, and he faced them, and he would put that to the forefront. And that's why even back then you had politicians against Tupac because all he was doing was telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about politicians that look like us. That wasn't the way you're supposed to act. You're supposed to, you know, be quiet and just accept it the way it was. Tupac didn't do that. And he was probably one of the most influential people for that generation of folks to actually take a look at what's going on. To actually, you know, he's preaching, you know, local government, which is very important. Tupac was a
Mm-hmm.
big, you know, he was a big backer of, you know, supporting local government. Now, his music and all was aggressive as fuck, but that's what, you know, got your attention. But when you spoke to that man, or when you interviewed him, or when you actually had a conversation with him, then you're seeing the intellect, then you're seeing the knowledge, then you're seeing the care of his community, you know. And he was able to do that. He was able to formulate all that and transform it into his music, where he had the perfect balance of cautiousness and partying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like who else
Mm-hmm.
who else was a conscious partier? You know what I'm
Nobody.
saying? Either you were
Right.
cautious or you were a partier. And Tupac, he was able to blend not even just partying. He was a cautious rapper, he was a party rapper, and a gangster rapper, and wrapped it all into one beautiful package. And then and then we turn around and talk about his acting prowess.
Mm-hmm.
Great actor, which is basically how he started out. Period. He didn't start out his life as a rapper. He was an actor
Mm-hmm.
first. You know what I'm saying? He was a trained actor, and the performances he gave in multiple movies, like we just talked about last week, Juice. You know what I'm saying? His
Above the
role as
rim.
Bishop in Juice,
Yep.
when a lot of people didn't even know he was a rapper when Juice came out. That was their introduction to Tupac. It's a lot of
Yeah.
people that I know that was their introduction to Tupac was Juice. They didn't know him as the rapper. Above the rim, Gridlocked, Poetic Justice. Like Pac always, and you could tell in all his acting roles, he took them very seriously. I feel like if Pac never died, he might not have elevated to the level of like where undisputed greatest rapper of all time. But I feel like Pac was on his way to maybe say 10, 15 years after his passing. If he had stayed at his craft, we might have been talking about Tupac being nominated for an Oscar for one of his acting performances. He
Oh,
was
that's
that
what I
talented.
doubt. Yeah,
He was
without a
that
doubt. You would.
talented. He was that talented. So his impact to me personally as a musician was top notch because he checked every box. Like if it didn't matter what mood you were in, you could find a Tupac song, or you know what I'm saying, you could get in that pocket, in that vibe to where you're gonna rock with it. As an actor, and he was amazing in everything he did for real. And his impact on with the we haven't even brought up the beefing. You know what I'm saying, the West Coast East Coast beef. He he
That's the.
was
I'll be honest. That's the only part of Pac I didn't like because I feel like he allowed Suge to gaslight him in that situation.
I mean, but
But
if
I'm
you
not. But
but if you put yourself in his position where they was getting him out of jail, he's writing his album on napkins. He's writing All Eyes on Me on napkins. until they can get him out when everybody else wasn't trying to. So of course, like Suge, I'm thinking what Pac was probably like. Suge saved his life.
So I mean, I guess I look at it
In
the
the
reason, like I
moment, I'm
was.
talking in the moment. Suge
No, I
saved his
know
life.
in the moment, but he also allowed, like I said, Suge to gaslight that situation because Pac always knew that Big had nothing to do with him getting shot at Quad Studios. He always knew that, and to me, like I said, it became unfortunate because do I think Pac wanted Big dead? No, just like I don't think Big wanted Pac dead. But allowing Suge to gaslight and stir that situation, then the domino effect is what it came out to be. Two young men losing their life in their early 20s. You know what I'm saying? And that goes to like anybody who ever makes a Pac debate, they could always go to that, like, yo, he was so socially conscious and aware, but he allowed this situation to spiral out of control. And honestly, though, that's also a part of what makes Pac great, because he was flawed. You know what I'm saying? Pac, just like any young 20-year-old something man, you're gonna be flawed. You're gonna make bad decisions. Like you said, on this day I feel like a gangster. On this day I feel like, I want to talk about some real social issues that are hurting my community. So I just say that's the one part of Pac that I never liked, because the track against Big is an all-time great diss track. We know that. But I also feel like there was part of that where it was forced from Pac. I don't know if he really had the issues that he had with the East Coast, like he claimed. I think that was more gaslighted by Suge.
Another thing, real quick, Pooh, if you're still listening, one of the things about Tupac at the time, why he was so revered by people of my age, and why he's held in such high regard, is you got, like, right now, Pooh, you're in your 20s, and so you can look back at, like, you can go back to like 1985 all the way up to now and look at who the rappers were and what their impact might have been, or their, what their careers might have been. So like Pac was hot between like what 92 and 96, I say was his prime.
Yeah.
I mean, right? So at that time, Pooh, you weren't born yet. I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way at all. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to explain the way I look at it. It's like, like what because of what you've experienced, and you weren't there at the time. But at the time, so what I'm saying is, like, you have the whole collective from rappers from 85 all the way up to now. Rappers from 85 all the way up to now. So you can look at the whole collective group. But at the time in 95, like, we had him, we had LL Cool J, we had, you know what I'm saying, Scarface, we had dudes like that. And then along came Tupac. So there was, like, in comparison at that moment to everybody else, he was something so different and so new to what we weren't used to. Like, there was no Nas, there was no Jay, there was, you know what I'm saying,
No,
like
Nas,
the
Nas and Jay was out.
I mean, I'm talking about as the way we look at them now,
Well,
because they were able to, go on, and we consider them goats. But in that moment, in that time frame, we didn't. So Tupac's impact stopped then because he had no more works. But then you had other rappers to come after him and that excelled. Well, Jay and Nas, of course, were contemporaries for a small pocket, but they went on to excel after his death. Then you had your Lil Waynes, you had the people we consider to be rap stars or the greatest of all time. There was Pac, there was Biggie, and then there was everybody else. Like, we don't even consider the people before those guys. And
right.
and where we should. Nobody's talking about KRS-One. Nobody really be talking about Rakim like they should. We talk about people from Pac and Big on, right? So if Pac was able to keep going, who knows what regard we'd hold him in. but he was I feel like he was what the measuring stick started being as far as your impact and who's great. So that alone tells me that that's why, we guys my age or whatever hold Pac in such a high regard. No, now, if I look back, and when we did the top rappers list, remember?
Mm-hmm.
It was a New York rapper list, but even if, like, by technicality, some people claim Tupac from New York,
Right.
he wouldn't have been on it. He wouldn't have been on mine regardless. His impact, top 5 impact, but top
Right.
5 rapper, nah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's where I land with Pac as well in terms of like historical place. I agree. I think like I don't have him as my top 5 list, but if you say impact, I don't think you can have any conversation about hip hop without Pac being included in it. So I do
Absolutely,
agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that. I mean, I just think with Pac too, and you made a great point because this is something I think that kind of can be used across all platforms or any type of debate when you're talking about who's the greatest, who's this, who's that. When you live in that moment and you see the actual impact happening in real time, it's different than you going back and then watching it on some sort of like tape or documentary. Because you don't the feel is different. If you lived in that moment, like I said, we're talking Pac being as vocal as he was, right? During the time when we were coming out of the LA riots and Rodney King beating. There was a lot of people who were scared to speak up. So think about that for a second. Think about somebody who's willing to speak up and risk their opportunity, because rappers of that era weren't making what rappers of this era make.
Hell no.
Right?
And we weren't getting the news. We weren't even getting the news the same way. Like, we
right.
had to wait. We were waiting on the source to come out, or you know what I'm saying, or we were waiting on Double
Right.
XL. Like, we weren't getting every minute news in the moment. There was no internet.
Right.
You had when you heard about something going down. By the time you heard about it, most likely it was already squashed because you were hearing about it so late.
Right.
Because it wasn't in the moment.
So when you think about, again, like now it's different to be socially aware and speak out on social issues. Because it's a lot harder to blackball somebody now. But back then, you needed the label to support you so you could actually put out a project. And you needed the label to put money behind that project so that your fans could actually know how to receive your project and know about it. To speak out about something in the early 90s, I mean, when a label could easily say, hey, we're going to shelf you for 2 years. We're not going to put no money behind your project. You're not going to get on no tour. You ain't going to make no money. That's really tough to do. And Pac was speaking out about stuff before he was a megastar. Before he was Tupac, who was kind of going back and forth with Big and other people from the East Coast, he was still speaking out already about things that were going on in our country and our society. So that speaks to Will's point of like, you had to be there to see in the moment what it felt like. No other rapper aside, Public Enemy was doing it, but Public Enemy wasn't on the level Pac was on. KRS was doing it, but KRS wasn't on the level Pac was on. And Pac was doing it in far more aggressive tone than they was doing it.
Yeah.
Again, Pac beat a case where he shot a cop. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it now, we glorify, and you know, this has always been a part of hip hop culture, but we glorify the rapper who's been shot and survived. Imagine if today one of your biggest rappers got into a shootout with a cop, shot a cop, and then beat the case.
Right. So it was like we the people, you know.
Yeah, it was one of them like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, yo, yeah. Pac is on some different shit right now.
Right.
So now you walking it like you talk it. Not only are you talking to us about the social issues, not only are you talking about a revolution that needs to happen, you really out here banging it out with the cops? That's different shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think that maybe the music doesn't carry over the same way. It's tough for music to stand the test of time that way because, again, the beat selection and the wordplay is going to be completely different. But I just think the social impact of Pac, that there's a reason why 30 years later we're still talking about it, because the impact is still there. Yep. Shout out to Tyson. Shout out to Pooh. Pooh said, great show tonight. Tyson said, thanks for that, to giving me a little education on. No doubt, Tyson. I like this. I like this
all good.
Here.
And I wanna reiterate real quick. Like, I meant when I said you weren't here, like y'all young, I didn't mean no disrespect. I was just trying to say I wasn't saying like, oh, you young whippersnappers or nothing like that. I
Nah,
was just meaning you had to be there. Like in the moment, it was such a different thing. That's what I was saying. I wasn't trying to disrespect y'all's age and nothing like that. Just to be clear.
nah, we're not yelling get off our lawn. No shit like that.
Right.
Tyson said, with me, I've done tons of research on pop. My mom's pops and uncles always talk and played his music. I was born in 2000. Yeah, and I mean, it's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing the research. I always encourage people do the research, try to learn as much as you can about a topic or a particular individual. It's same thing when we talk about sports. That's why we say
Yep.
it's tough to compare the eras because if you wasn't there, you could only go off of what you've seen over the last 20 years. That's tough. There's a lot of it's same thing with music, same thing with film. There's a lot
With
of great
everything.
movies, yeah, that were made. Even for Will and I, even though we're older guys, there's a lot of great shit that happened before we was alive and paying attention
Sure.
to it. Yeah, and we had to do our research too. We had to go back
Yep.
and look and like, yo, how does this compare? What was that feeling like? You know, Tyson, I like this statement too. He said, was DMX out when Pac was out? I seen DMX as older, or did DMX come like the early 2000s? Pause. I think Jay came out the year Pac died in 96. Yeah. So here's another thing that we talked about as well. Jay-Z's debut album, Reasonable Doubt, comes out in 1996. However, Jay-Z had already been bubbling on the underground circuit for about 2 years. And that is the biggest difference in the way music is consumed now compared to our era, Will. In our era, like I said, for an artist, you had to have the proper rollout, right? It's not like now where for a lot of music lovers, you can go online, you can find a new artist who just uploaded 3 songs.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, he might have just uploaded 3 songs this year alone. You heard the music, you like him, now he's on your playlist. Before you know it, he's on the iTunes top 50. And within 18 months, he went from uploading on YouTube to being a major artist that's on a tour. In the 90s, you needed a label to discover you. And so,
or you need to have that hot tape, that hot mixtape, like
yeah,
Ron D or somebody was out there pumping you.
Right. You needed a major DJ to promote you and back you, or you needed the label. So if you went the route that most artists did at the time, you were underground, which means you probably had an EP, a tape with 4 or 5 songs on it. You handed it out to damn near every DJ. You hope the DJ liked it and that it would pump you from there. And then you hope to get on somebody's mixtape. If you do research, and I know Will knows this because he's a big fan of Fab, you look at early Fab stuff. Fab's debut album didn't come out until 2001. Fab was doing mixtape in 97, 98.
Yep. Yeah, he was on all the Clue joints.
Yeah, he was on DJ Clue shit heavy in 97, 98 doing mixtape joints. There's a famous freestyle with him and Nori when Nori was popping, when Nori was hot. Mm-hmm. And they had Hot 97 and Fab is like the unknown guy in the room that's rapping. So you had to have a proper rollout. So even though Jay-Z didn't hit the scene in 96, he was already kind of bubbling around 94. And Pac even dissed Jay back in like 95 when he went at Jay. He made some comments about Jay. So that's that part. DMX debut album came out, I want to say 97, 98. But again, he was bubbling underground for a little bit.
It was the same time that Hard Knock Life came out.
Nah, so
when DMX came out was when Hard Knock Life came out.
So what was that, 98?
97? 97, 98, right around there. I was just graduating high school, like right in that era. But they was on the same tour.
It was on it was the
Hard Knock Life tour when DMX, that first album that came, it was 98.
Yeah, it was Dark and Hell is Hot, a classic album, came out in 98. But DMX was doing the same thing. He was underground, doing a lot of mixtapes, freestyles, and then he kind of caught the big break at that time.
Tyson, go if you ain't seen it already. Look up. You can probably Google it or just put it in your Facebook search or YouTube search. Jay-Z, DMX, The Shop. Just Google that. And Jay-Z tells a great story about DMX when they were on that tour.
Yeah, they were performing.
Go look that up, bro. Go look it up, man. You gonna enjoy that. And
in that era too of hip hop, a lot of these guys would battle each other behind the scenes, and then from there, like your paths will cross later on, because there's always been a story about how DMX and Jay-Z actually freestyle battled each other one night.
That's part of this story. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's why he needs to go see it.
Yeah. So they
Anybody's
got that
watching, go
one.
look that
And
up.
then even recently I heard Jada was telling the story, because a lot of people see, again, a lot of people don't realize the things that go on behind the scenes that lead to the situations. The Locks were signed to Bad Boy originally. But the only reason they were signed to Bad Boy was because Rough Riders wasn't a label yet. So D and Y, who were the founders of Rough Riders, they had the Locks already as their artists, but they didn't have a platform for them. That's the biggest difference between then and now. Now you got a platform without doing much. If you could set up a YouTube account, if you could set up a social media account, you have a platform. You could put out your body of work for people to consume, and then you just got to grow your following. Back then, if you didn't have none of that, that's why a lot of cats were struggling artists for so long, because they had no way to put out the music for the fans. You could be super talented, just didn't have the music to put out. I mean, the platform to put it out on. But Jadakiss told a story about how in those days, they was bubbling. They had their thing going underground. Puff, who was friends with D&Y, who were the founders of Rough Riders, had told him, yo, I got this kid out of Harlem that's nice. And Jada tells a story of how they was battling on a street corner with Mace, which then led to the Locks getting their deal with Bad Boy. Because when Puff had heard Jada, and he like, yo, them dudes is nice, let me get them. D&Y was like, nah, we trying to put the label situation together. So Puff had told him, well, let him come to Bad Boy, and then when y'all get your situation right, you can get them back. I'll put out like 2 albums with him, and then you get them back, which led to that infamous audio that's on YouTube, where the Locks did one album with Bad Boy, and they was trying to get out of the contract, and they was at the radio station talking crazy about Puff because he wouldn't let him out the deal. Because from his perspective, it was like, no, the deal was y'all gonna do 2 albums with me, and y'all gonna go back to Rough Riders. But remember, Rough Riders start pop. The moment DMX come out, Rough Riders is the biggest shit on the planet at that point. So the Locks wanted to go back to Rough Riders. They want that out, and Puff wouldn't let them out. But yeah.
Shout out to Jada too.
Yeah, that's the history lesson for the night. Will, this was a great episode tonight, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's always a good time with you, man. Like every time we get together, we always rock, man. And to the supporters, everybody with the questions and the chimes in and the watches, and just gives us, you can be anywhere in the world, right, Eric? You can be anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to rock out with us tonight, man, on your Wednesday night. We appreciate it. It's like all summer long, man. If y'all want to have a little fun to break away from, your day-to-day stress, holla at us.
Nah, that's a fact. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. The comment section was on fire. The fact that we just went over 2 hours on the live and we still had comments coming in. We had people tuning in back and forth on IG. Shout out to Ren who sent in the comments on IG. We greatly appreciate it.
And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and concede week 1 of Fitted Wars. You won today.
Oh,
let me see. Let me see. You say you got the championship joint on the side.
Got the 50th anniversary patch on the side.
Wait, is that the cream joint with the green?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This.
Okay. Yeah, you won. You won this week. Hold on. Let me. Because I told you I was trying to rock the T for the subject joint matter. You know what I'm saying? But the matchy on the joint with the let me get a little closer. So what it is, it's the Wizards logo. If you can kind of see it.
I see it.
But it's got like a wild, like purple and metallic flake to it to go with the with the T. But then the underbrim. Ooh, wow! I didn't even need to do that. But your joint rawer than mine, so you won week 1. It's all good. I got some things in my cart on Fanatics right now. It's gonna be an issue next week.
Listen, no, hold on. So next week we're gonna skip next week. Remember, I told you I'm on vacation.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So we won't be live next week. We'll be back the week after. Give me a final thought, Will, before we wrap up.
Man, always good to give it to you, man. It's the dog days of summer, but there are still some things to check out. The Big 3 is very competitive. If you want to see some like old school type hoops, check out the Big 3. WNBA is popping right now. Support the WNBA.
Support the ladies, man.
Yeah, support the ladies. NFL season's coming. Start getting y'all fantasy football strategies together. Now y'all don't want to be caught lacking come draft day. And we going like he said, 2 weeks from now we're gonna have another banger for y'all, another funny ass topic, another funny ass show. Just keep rocking with us, man. Enjoy your summer. We ain't gonna see you for 2 weeks, so everybody be safe. Don't do nothing crazy. I know 4th of July is over. 4th of July is over. So to me, 5th of July starts the end of summer. But y'all enjoy what you got left, man, and love, live your life and love each other, man. That's all we can do.
Nah, that's a fact. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Shout out to the whole comment section again. That was rocking with us crazy tonight. Pooh,
For sure.
Tyson, Gary, Ron, Devontae Harris was with us. Let me see. Make sure I don't want to make sure I miss nobody. Oh, Ren was over on IG, so shout out to him. Tyson as well. Yeah, man, we had a great night. The comment section was buzzing tonight. We greatly appreciate it, man. And as Will said, support the ladies. The WNBA is in full effect right now. And I said it on Monday. I'm going to say it again. Will, too, for you. Friday night, man. It's going to be an amazing fight on Netflix. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. If you just look back at their previous fight, it was a fight of the year a couple years ago. Last year's fight was great. I promise you, it's going to be a great card. And Will, in terms of the eye candy, Alicia Baumgardner, who's the co-main event of the night, that's right there, Will. I promise you, you look up her page, you're going to be like, I'm tuning in Friday night.
So that's the joint that keep popping up every time I open Netflix.
Yep.
Like that's the background joint they keep popping up. All right. They forced it down my throat, pause. But they super pause.
Well, I'll say this. Well, they promoting the hell out of it. But rightfully so, because like I said, when these two women fought 2 years ago, to show you how good of a fight it was the fight of the year across men's and women's boxing. It was the best fight of 2022. When they fought last year, it was another instant classic, and it was another nominee for fight of the year. So the fact that they're going at it the third time with all the belts on the line, like I said, it's going to be a great fight. These are two of the best women in the sport. I think Clarissa Shields is probably the best fighter in the game overall. But these are two of the best women. And then Alicia Baumgardner, just look up her page, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised. And you might want to just tune in for the fight just for Alicia Baumgardner, just for her. But
I might have to get a ringside seats. What you trying to say?
Listen, and it's on Netflix. It ain't like you gotta pay nothing for it.
Yeah, you're right.
You log in. So like I said, it's gonna be a cool Friday night. You know what I'm saying? Get a beverage, watch the fight, and chill. I know that's what I'm gonna be doing. But for my brother Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez. We are the opinionated ones, as always, as part of the Sanchez Show. We will see you guys in 2 weeks, man. Enjoy your night. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you guys soon.
We holla.